Chapter 3192. Oh no, Lin Wudi is in danger. Yes, no matter how strong he was, he could not fight against Patriarch Shuepao. His law of fire could at most resist the law of blood, but what about the vengeful spirits? He definitely could not resist. If he was touched, he would be seriously injured and might be torn to pieces. Boom, 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 boom. It's over. Everyone shook their heads and sighed. Even a sage-to-be could not resist such an attack. That kid would definitely be torn to pieces. But soon they were stunned. Because in the collision, the vengeful spirits screamed and came back. They were torn to pieces, but Lin Xian was like a god of war. His body shone brightly and he was injured. He was not injured? What kind of body was that? These people were all stunned. The Qi family patriarch and the others were also shocked. This physique was too strong. It was more terrifying than an ordinary sage-to-be body. Lin Xian roared and rushed forward. Suddenly, countless vengeful spirits were sent flying. He sneered. Is that all? How ridiculous. Do you think these vengeful spirits can tear my body to pieces? Lin Xian's divine body shone brightly. It was very terrifying. In a few moves, all the vengeful spirits were sent flying. Damn it, get lost. Patriarch Shuepao roared and the vengeful spirits screamed. Suddenly, everyone's souls trembled as if they were about to be pierced. Oh no, it was a soul attack. These people were so scared that their scalps went numb and they retreated again. Your body is strong, but what about your soul? I don't believe that your soul can withstand these attacks. Now go to hell for me. Patriarch Shuepao smiled sinisterly again. Indeed, these vengeful spirits were very terrifying. His opponent seemed to be a body cultivator, but his soul should not be too strong. Patriarch Shuepao's soul attack could definitely kill him in one move. On the opposite side, Lin Xian felt the collision of the vengeful spirits and sneered. Soul attack? It seems that you are courting death. His palms formed a seal and a pair of golden eyes appeared in the sky. They were like the eyes of a deity with the law of fire looking down on the ground. Samsara. Lin Xian roared furiously. Golden light spun rapidly in his eyes, forming two golden vortexes that engulfed the countless vengeful spirits. Those resentful spirits cried out miserably as if they had gone mad. They were originally souls, but due to special reasons they couldn't reincarnate and were suppressed beneath the great blood plains. Now, after being enveloped by the golden light, they were all swallowed up without any resistance. In an instant, all the vengeful spirits in the sky disappeared without a trace. In the sky, the pair of golden eyes blossomed with an even more mysterious light. Is this all you've got? Lin Xian sneered. Damn it, this is impossible. How could it be so easily resolved? Patriarch Shuepao was stunned. Was the other party's soul also so terrifying? Furthermore, what kind of eyes were those? Why was his soul trembling? Those who were watching the battle from afar were extremely shocked. Ancestor Shuepao was actually being suppressed. Was Patriarch Shuepao going to lose? Thinking of this, their scalps went numb. If that was really the case, it would be an earth-shattering event. He was actually strong to such an extent. Heimo, Wuxia, and the others were extremely shocked. The Qi family's patriarch and the other sage-to-be saints were also extremely solemn. This young man was really something. Shuepao, is this all you've got? Lin Xian's voice rang out from the front. Ancestor Shuepao's face was extremely ugly, and then he roared. Kid, don't be so arrogant. You underestimate me too much. You underestimate the Scarlet Plains too much. Do you think that's all you've got? Alright, I'll show you a true peerless superpower. 3000 Blood Demon Technique. Ancestor Shuepao roared into the sky, and the law of blood swept out quickly. Behind him, 3000 blood rivers rolled in the sky and twisted, forming 3000 blood demon kings. Each of them could split the sky and earth, and the fragments of the law of blood in their bodies brought about monstrous power. Kill. Ancestor Shuepao roared, and the 3000 blood demons behind him roared as well, shaking the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The terrifying murderous aura shattered the sky. On Lin Xian's side, a dragon's roar rang out, resisting the murderous aura in the sky. The two sound waves clashed in the sky. It was useless. Lin Xian snorted coldly. On the opposite side, Ancestor Shuepao's palms formed a seal again. Suck blood. 3000 blood demons array. In the distance, the martial artists screamed, because many of them were instantly turned into dried corpses. Their blood gushed out crazily, gathering toward Ancestor Shuepao. Not good. The power of the law fragment. Run. These people's scalps went numb and they were scared out of their wits. They quickly ran away. Those who were slow to run were all deprived of blood. Wuxia, Yu Linglong, Heimo, and the others also looked pale and they quickly retreated. Under the power of the law fragment they couldn't resist at all. Lin Xian also felt the blood in his body surging, as if it was about to burst out of his body. This was the power of laws. They were invisible and traceless, and their words were law. A saint could instantly kill billions of living beings. Even Lin Xian, who was at the same level as a half-saint, was affected. But soon he shouted coldly, "Suppress it." The great dragon sword soul in his body roared, turned into a peerless sword light, and directly destroyed this power. He turned into a giant dragon, suppressing Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian's blood completely calmed down. Competing with the law? Then have a taste of my law of fire. His eyes burst out with a piercing light. Ancestor Shuepao screamed, and his body suddenly burned. His blood boiled as if it was about to evaporate. Damn it! Ancestor Shuepao roared, activating the law of blood. The two laws collided and countless cracks appeared on Ancestor Shuepao's body. Damn it, the 3000 blood demon formation charge. Ancestor Shuepao retreated far away, suppressed by the power. At the same time he activated the 3000 blood demon formation. But he was too shocked. Why did his law not hurt the other party, but was hurt by the other party's law? Could it be that the other party's law power was stronger than his? Damn it, how was this possible? He didn't believe it. He had comprehended the law for thousands of years, but it wasn't as profound as the other parties? How would he know that Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul? That supreme power, coupled with the law of fire, was enough to destroy everything. At this moment, Lin Xian was facing the 3000 blood demon formation. The flaming sword chi in his hand slashed in all directions. The law of fire danced, sweeping across heaven and earth. However, the 3000 blood demon formation was extremely extraordinary. The 3000 blood demons led the law of blood fragments to form a heaven and earth great formation. For a moment, it actually blocked Lin Xian's monstrous sword light. Not only that, it also charged towards Lin Xian quickly. The space where Lin Xian was completely enveloped by the blood-colored light. On the other side, Ancestor Shuepao extinguished the flames on his body and flew over again. He saw Lin Xian, who was surrounded by the 3000 blood demons, and laughed loudly. "Kid, how is it? Do you know how powerful my formation is? Next, you will experience what despair is." Ancestor Shuepao once again shot out a few blood-colored law fragments into the blood demon formation. Buzz. Chapter 3193. Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Sword chi and flames danced, suppressing the heavens and the earth. Suddenly, the light of the 3000 blood demons was suppressed. The monstrous flames were even about to engulf the 3000 blood demons. Seeing this, Ancestor Shuepao's face turned cold again. He took out a blood-red heart and bit into it. Suddenly his aura skyrocketed. In front of him, 3000 blood demons stretched out their arms and turned into rivers of blood, entangling the sword chi in the sky. The fiery light completely enveloped the sky. The sky was once again blood-red. Do you think my rule of blood is that simple? Only depriving you of your chi and blood? You're too naive. Since I can't absorb your blood, I'll let it go berserk. From now on you'll become a madman. After the 3000 blood demons suppressed the flames in the sky, Ancestor Shuepao charged toward Lin Xian again. This time the rule of blood directly enveloped Lin Xian. He did not absorb Lin Xian's blood. Instead, he let Lin Xian's blood become berserk. In the end, he completely lost his mind. Oh no. That Lin Wuti is in danger. Yes, I've seen this move before. At that time, Ancestor Shuepao fought against a half-saint. That half-saint was sealed for 3 years before he recovered. I'm afraid that Lin Wuti will not be able to stop it. Next, he will completely turn into a madman, even more berserk than a beast. Hearing the words of a half-saint, the spectators were shocked. Is Lin Wuti going to lose? Sure enough, he's still too young. As a veteran half-saint, Ancestor Shuepao's means were extremely powerful. He was even more proficient in the application of the rule of blood. Lin Wuti is probably going to be defeated this time. Lin Xian felt the berserk aura and his eyes immediately turned red. He seemed to have become murderous and wanted to destroy everything in the world. However, it was not that easy to make him completely crazy. After all, he was also a half-saint. Moreover, he was not an ordinary half-saint. Dragon Sword Soul, destroy. The great dragon sword spirit within Lin Fan's body roared crazily as it destroyed the berserk aura. The red glow in Lin Xian's eyes disappeared and turned back into golden runes. I have to say, you are indeed very strong, but it's a pity that you met me. Your nomological abilities are unable to affect me. Next, I will let you experience my true nomological mystical ability. Lin Xian sheathed his blazing Qilin sword. In the next moment he shouted, "Sword, come!" Immediately, a flaming long sword appeared in his hand. That flaming long sword was formed completely from fragments of the law of fire. The light shone brightly, exuding a peerlessly violent and destructive aura. Instantly, the entire sky within a radius of a few million miles was enveloped by torrential flames. Tens of millions of miles away, everyone's expressions changed. What a terrifying law fragment. Why did it feel like the nomological fragment Lin Wudi comprehended was even more terrifying than Patriarch Xuepao's? Impossible. Patriarch Xuepao's expression finally changed. What he was most proud of was his law of blood. In his opinion, so what if his opponent was a half-saint? His opponent's comprehension of the law was too shallow and could not be compared to him. But now he realized that he was wrong. The aura emitted by his opponent's law of fire was even more terrifying than his law of blood. His opponent's comprehension of the law was actually higher than his? Impossible. Patriarch Xuepao could not believe it. He waved his blood-red palms and rushed over with the power of the law. He had to stop his opponent. Countless blood-red palms with the law of fire emitted a deafening sound. The law of fire sword trembled and countless sword lights surrounded it, destroying all the blood-red palms. There were even a few that pierced towards Patriarch Xuepao, forcing him to dodge quickly. Damn it, how could it be so terrifying? Patriarch Xuepao's expression was extremely cold. At this moment, Lin Xian's law of fire sword had already formed and was held in his hand. Buzz! The great dragon sword soul roared and hundreds of millions of sword chi soared into the sky. This is my self-created law of fire god slash. Now have a taste of its might. Lin Xian waved the law of fire sword in his hand. As the sword fell, countless law fragments danced in the air and flames surged between heaven and earth. Other than that, no other scene could be seen. That trace of flame could easily kill a martial artist who was close to the Tao. Even a half-step sage would be turned into ashes. As expected, the eyelids of the Qi family patriarch and the other half-step sages twitched wildly. They felt a threat to their lives. This sword could not be resisted directly. Patriarch Xuepao roared. Do you think you're the only one who knows how to use the law of fire? His palm twitched in the void. As his palm moved, countless law of blood formed a blood-red saber that emitted the same aura. Slash. With a slash of the saber, ghosts wailed and wolves howled. It was also a saber of law. The saber and sword collided in the sky and turned into an eternal light. Heaven and earth split open and lightning fell as if a thunder tribulation had occurred. Looking at the vast and mighty lightning tribulation 8 million miles ahead, the spectating cultivators were all stunned. Was this the power of a half-step sage? It was too terrifying. Even if all of them attacked together, they would not be able to resist at all and would be turned into ashes in an instant. Had Lin Xian become so powerful? Even if he was defeated this time, there were probably not many people in the younger generation who could suppress him. Jun Wuya, Yu Linglong, and the others were extremely solemn. When they were still competing with the younger generation, Lin Xian was already able to contend with the older half-step sages. He had even made Patriarch Xuepao extremely embarrassed, especially now that he had created his own law of fire. All of this was like a myth that they could only look up to. While everyone was stunned, the situation in front of them also changed. The blood-red light that filled the sky suddenly shattered, and the flame aura suddenly surged. It immediately enveloped Patriarch Xuepao. Damn it! Block it for me! Patriarch Xuepao roared, and the illusion of a small world appeared on his body. The blood-red light inside was monstrous, as if it was the Azura world. This had already surpassed the King domain. It was a small world formed by Patriarch Xuepao. At this moment, as soon as the small world appeared, it completely enveloped Patriarch Xuepao, isolating him from all the flames outside. Kid, you underestimate me too much. Do you really think that I have cultivated for more than 1,000 years in vain? Now that my world has appeared, let's see how you can hurt me. Patriarch Xuepao's voice echoed in the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Hearing this, Lin Xian laughed. You are too ignorant. In this world there are some people who you can't understand. Do you think your world is very powerful? Today I will split it open for you. Lin Xian roared, and the dragon roar on his body soared into the sky. The great dragon sword soul transformed into thousands of rays of light that supported the law of fire. Suddenly Lin Xian's law of fire sword shone brightly again, turning into a giant flame dragon that was millions of miles long and crazily fell. Chapter 3194. Bus. The dozens of sword lights of the laws blotted out the sky and earth, forming a sword screen that enveloped the entire world. Lin Xian's eyes were cold. To be honest, other half-saints might not be able to do anything to Patriarch Xuepao's escape. After all, Patriarch Xuepao had turned into too much blood mist. It was impossible to destroy it in a short time. If Patriarch Xuepao managed to escape, he might be reborn. However, it was impossible for Lin Xian to do so. Lin Xian was the descendant of the Great Dragon Sword. The Great Dragon Sword soul could destroy everything in the world. A mere sky full of blood mist was nothing in his eyes. Sure enough, the sword chi turned into a sea of swords that shrouded the blood mist. The next moment, Patriarch Xuepao's miserable cry was heard. Ah! He screamed crazily because he found that the blood mist he had turned into was being destroyed at an alarming speed. None of it could escape. How is this possible? Patriarch Xuepao was going crazy. How could his opponent have such a sharp sword light? Am I going to die here today? No. Patriarch Xuepao screamed crazily. 2/3 of his blood mist had been destroyed. Only 1/3 was left. He felt his skin crawl and said quickly, Stop fighting. You've won this battle. I admit defeat. Also, we'll write off our grudges. How about that? Hearing this, the martial artists who were watching the battle from afar were stunned. The ancestral patriarch of the Qi family and the other half-saints gasped. Patriarch Xuepao is begging for mercy and admitting defeat. This is unbelievable. They knew that Patriarch Xuepao was a terrifying existence. They were no match for him in a one-on-one fight. However, such a powerful half-saint had been defeated by a young man. Now he was fleeing in all directions and even had to beg for mercy. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it. It's useless. I've said before that this battle will determine victory and defeat as well as life and death. Lin Xian's cold voice was heard. Let him go? How is that possible? Patriarch Xuepao was a vengeful and ruthless person. If Lin Xian let him go, he would definitely take the opportunity to come back. He would not allow such a scourge to live. Therefore Lin Xian did not hold back. No way Lin Wuti really wanted to kill Patriarch Xuepao? Heavens, is the semi-sage going to fall? The Qi family's ancestor and the others were shocked beyond words. Jun Wuya Heimo and the others were dumbfounded. The native warriors of blood refining planet felt their scalps go numb. That was Ancestor Xuepao, who was extremely famous in blood refining planet. But now they were actually facing the danger of being killed. It was really hard for them to imagine. Ancestor Xuepao roared as if he had gone mad. Damn brat, you dare to attack me? No one answered him. What answered him was only the merciless sword light. Immediately the 1/3 of blood was reduced by half. I'll fight it out with you. Patriarch Xuepao knew that he couldn't escape. He let out a vicious voice, Damn brat, I'll take you down with me. He was truly in despair. He didn't expect that he would be killed here when he was at his peak. If he had known, he probably wouldn't have fought with the other party even if he was beaten to death. But now it was too late. He couldn't escape by himself. Even if he asked other semi-sages for help, they probably wouldn't. Firstly, their friendship was ordinary. Secondly, Lin Wuti was so young and so strong. His future achievements were limitless. Who would dare offend such a peerless genius? Therefore no one would help him. However, even if Ancestor Xuepao died, he wouldn't let the other party get what he wanted. He wanted to drag the other party down with him. Kid, I won't let you off. I'll let you be struck by 10,000 lightning bolts and have your mind destroyed. I'll let you suffer the most terrifying lightning technique. This voice reverberated between heaven and earth, making everyone's hair stand on end. Everyone was trembling in fear. The souls of the Qi family's ancestor and the others were also trembling. Lin Xian also frowned. In the next instant, he saw the remaining blood of Ancestor Xuepao start to burn rapidly. Within the red flames, Ancestor Xuepao's soul was rolling and twisting. At the same time, a thundercloud appeared in the sky. When it collided, 10,000 lightning bolts appeared. The terrifying aura of thunder made the Qi family's ancestor and the others shudder in fear. Oh no, it's a curse. Ancestor Xuepao had really gone mad. He was willing to give up on reincarnation and fall into eternal darkness to cast such a curse. It's over. That Lin Wuti won't be able to survive either. Next, there would be an apocalyptic lightning tribulation. The Qi family's ancestor and the others quickly retreated. When the surrounding martial artists and geniuses heard this, their scalps went numb and they ran for their lives. They knew that Ancestor Xuepao would definitely die. As for Lin Xian, it was very likely that he would be killed by the cursed lightning tribulation. Curse. Lin Xian frowned. This was the first time he had seen such an attack. Through his heavenly secret divine eyes, he could see that Ancestor Xue Pao's blood was burning. His soul seemed to be pulled into an unknown world. At the same time, he sensed that he was being watched by a mysterious and strange power. This power made the light on his body dim, and his qi and blood were about to wither. At the same time, his heart was pounding. Above his head, thunder flashed, and the light seemed to be able to destroy the world. This aura was no weaker than the lightning tribulation when he became a half-saint. It was even stronger. Boom. In the next moment, countless lightning tribulations fell, piercing through the void and completely enveloping the world. Lin Xian was also engulfed. 1 day, 2 days, the cursed lightning tribulation continued. The space within millions of miles was shattered and turned into a chaotic void. The Qi family's ancestor and the others had already retreated 30 million miles away. They looked at the apocalyptic scene in front of them and their hearts pounded. It's over. Lin Wudi won't be able to escape. Yes, even a half-saint would be killed. Moreover, he was enveloped by the power of the curse. The lightning tribulation would never let him go. Several half-saints shook their heads. At the same time, some half-saints felt that it was a pity that such a peerless genius had become a half-saint at such a young age. His future was limitless. He was too young and impetuous. He shouldn't have pushed Ancestor Xue Pao so hard. Otherwise, he wouldn't have died if he didn't kill Ancestor Xue Pao. Young Master Lin. Qi Xiu's face was full of anxiety, and her eyes were filled with endless despair. In the distance, Jun Wuxia, Ling Long, Heimo, and the others were also in disbelief. Lin Xian was destroyed by the lightning tribulation. Was he dead? Why did it all seem like a dream? Sun Heimo sneered. Humph, this is really surprising. I didn't expect that a half-saint would die. The other extraterritorial elites also said coldly. I admit that Lin Wudi is powerful, but he has become history. Only a living genius is a genius. What was dead was nothing at all. Chapter 3195. They all breathed a sigh of relief. This was because a young half-saint was giving them too much pressure. Now they were all dead. In this way they had one less opponent to compete with. However, most of the older generation still looked regretful. After all, they had no chance to become great emperors. If they could see the rise of a young great emperor in their lifetime, they would be very happy. In today's battle, they had witnessed the rise of a young great emperor. However, they did not expect an accident to happen in the end. Patriarch Xue Pao's soul fell into eternal darkness, and he released a half-saint curse, which attracted a peerless heavenly tribulation. Lin Wudi might not be able to deal with such power. Not necessarily. Lin Wudi was very strong. Especially when Yu Linglong and the others knew that Lin Xian was the successor of the Great Dragon, the successor of the 9 Sons. He had a strong physique and strong attacks, so he might be able to survive. However, 10 days passed, 20 days passed, and they were in despair. After a month they were ready to leave. Because the heavenly tribulation ahead was still ongoing, and Lin Xian's figure still did not appear. Forget it, let's go. That kid can't be resurrected. Indeed, the power of the curse had not disappeared, and the heavenly tribulation had not dissipated. After it dissipated, everything would vanish. And that kid would probably be destroyed in body and soul. The half-saints shook their heads and left. The other experts, elders, big families, and sacred grounds all left one after another. Jun Wuxia, Yu Linglong, and the others also left. Let's go. 7 Lights regained its coldness and left with Nether King and the others. In the end, everyone left. In the vast heavenly tribulation, Lin Xian's fire law revolved around his body, resisting it. The great dragon sword soul roared in his body, and at the same time, there was a black rune jumping on his body. And the aura became more and more terrifying. This aura was the aura of annihilation. Although the heavenly tribulation was powerful, Lin Xian relied on various abhijnas and his strong body. These heavenly tribulation could not hurt him at all. Not only that, Lin Xian seemed to be still cultivating. However, from the looks of it, he wouldn't be waking up anytime soon. Tens of millions of miles of space was filled with lightning tribulations, so it was impossible for anyone to come in. It was impossible for anyone to know about Lin Xian's current situation. In the outside world, it had been a month since the final battle between the half-saints on the Scarlet Plain. In the past month, news about Lin Wudi and Patriarch Xue Pao had spread across many star worlds. Everyone was amazed by Lin Xian's strength, but at the same time, they felt it was a pity. This was because Lin Xian had already died in the lightning tribulation. The curse of a half-step saint was extremely terrifying. It was likely that the other party would not be able to survive. Just as someone said, dead geniuses were nothing. Only living geniuses were true geniuses. Thus, the crowd only treated this battle as history. The commotion caused by this battle gradually died down. At the same time, another piece of news came, causing everyone to stop talking. The battle between half-sages had turned completely silent. Falling into the abyss, there was a problem. In the starry sky of the universe, there were many star worlds that were very famous. For example, the blood-refining star was a very terrifying training ground. Most of them were ferocious experts. There was also a star world called the Falling Star. There was a falling abyss inside which was extremely terrifying. It was said that the demonic chi and ghost chi filled the air, which was extremely terrifying. It was said that it was also an ancient battlefield, where hundreds of millions of creatures had fought. Even peerless experts had fallen there. It was a very terrifying place which could be said to be a place of great danger. However, there were still countless people who wanted to fall into the falling abyss. Even the patriarch of the Qi family 300 years ago was injured when he fell into the falling abyss. Because the falling abyss was filled with ghost Qi and demonic Qi, people who cultivated this kind of cultivation method liked to stay there. They could get twice the results with half the effort. Moreover, there were also people who liked to challenge themselves there to break through bottlenecks. There was even a rumor that there was a huge treasure trove in the falling abyss, where endless secrets were kept. As long as one could enter the treasure trove and obtain the treasures inside, one could become a saint and transcend heaven and earth. Becoming a saint was such a great temptation. One had to know that although many people hoped to become a great emperor, the great emperor was too illusory. Countless saints and super saints could not become a great emperor, so most people only dreamed about it. However, saints were different. To them, saints were closer to becoming a great emperor. Moreover, especially those who had comprehended the nearing path and were already half saints, as long as they took another step forward, they would immediately become saints. Their strength would undergo a tremendous change, and their lifespan would also increase exponentially. That was the most attractive thing to them. Therefore, countless experts rushed to the falling abyss like ducks. The changes in the falling abyss directly attracted the attention of these people. In an instant, news spread everywhere. Quite a few star realms had received the news. Those nearing path martial artists and half-saints were all eager to make a move. The Qi family. Their territory and influence had expanded a lot compared to before, and it was all thanks to the Qi family's patriarch. At this moment, the Qi family's patriarch was sitting high in the main hall. When he received the news from the outer realm, he suddenly stood up. Really? There was a change? Patriarch? What was going on? Below him, the Qi family's elders and powerhouses were also puzzled. It was rare for them to see their patriarch so agitated. There was a new change in the falling abyss. There was a chaotic aura and multicolored light in the falling abyss. That was a sign of the birth of a rare treasure. What? The elders and powerhouses below were shocked when they heard that. They knew that the falling abyss was filled with demonic Qi, ghost Qi, and all kinds of cold aura. But now there was a chaotic aura and multicolored light in the falling abyss. Under normal circumstances, such things would not appear in the falling abyss. Could it be that the rumors were true? There was really a huge treasure trove in the falling abyss? At this moment, the treasure trove had opened. Was that why the multicolored light and chaotic aura had appeared? Everyone discussed animatedly. The Qi family's patriarch laughed. That's right. It seemed that there was indeed a secret in the falling abyss. Patriarch, what should we do? Should we go? The Qi family's elder raised his head and asked. Qi Siyu, who was beside him, also looked nervous. After all, 300 years ago their patriarch was injured because he went to the falling abyss. From then on he could not recover from the setback and even almost died. If it were not for Lin Xian, their patriarch would have died by now. Of course I have to go. Don't worry, I didn't spend the past 300 years in vain. I've already found a way to resist the Yin demons. Chapter 3196. The Qi family patriarch's eyes flickered. He had been a half-saint for a long time and had been stuck in the half-saint realm for a long time. Although he had recovered, he could only live for another 1,000 years. However, could he break through and become a true saint in the next 1,000 years? To be honest, the Qi family patriarch was not confident at all. He had estimated that even if there was a chance, the chances of success were less than 10%. A half-saint and a saint seemed similar, but the difference between them was too great. The difference was like heaven and earth. A saint was an existence that transcended heaven and earth and could no longer be called a human. Becoming a saint was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Now that he had fallen into the abyss and there were abnormal changes, the Qi family patriarch had to make a trip no matter what. When the others heard this, they hurriedly made preparations to provide the patriarch with all the resources they could. On the cloud-returning planet, all the major families and top sacred grounds were making preparations. Even the elites and half-saints in the blood-refining planet, the hero planet, the Sirius planet, and the surrounding planets were making preparations. On the blood-refining planet, the Crimson Plains. At this moment, millions of miles of space was still enveloped by an endless sea of lightning. The violent aura made it so that there was no one in the surrounding 30 million miles. It could be said that this place had become a forbidden area and no one would come here. However, on this day in the endless sea of lightning, a young figure stood up. Lin Xian opened his eyes. Terrifying fragments of the law of fire appeared from his body and danced in the air. In addition, there were some mysterious black runes that were also law fragments. He had succeeded. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. When he had killed Patriarch Xue Pao, he had received a curse from Patriarch Xue Pao and attracted a lightning tribulation. However, Lin Xian had not died in the lightning tribulation. Instead, he had withstood it. At the same time, he had also used the lightning tribulation to cultivate the power of annihilation. Finally, he had cultivated the power of annihilation into a law of annihilation fragment. Now that Lin Xian had comprehended two types of nomological law fragments, his strength had increased exponentially once again. If he were to fight Patriarch Xue Pao now, he would probably be able to kill him in less than 50 moves. Moreover, he would not give Patriarch Xue Pao a chance to curse him. It should be about time for the lightning tribulation to disappear, right? Lin Xian looked up at the sky. Suddenly he frowned. No, what was going on? Could it be that the power of the curse still hadn't disappeared? Lin Xian discovered that not only did the surrounding lightning tribulation not weaken, but it was also becoming more and more violent, as if it was going to engulf the entire world. That's impossible. After such a long time, even if it's a half-saint level curse, it should have disappeared. What was going on? Just as he was feeling puzzled, a red figure suddenly rushed out of the black earth. Following that, roars filled the sky. Ah! Ha, this emperor is going to succeed. Ruffian dragon. Upon hearing this voice, Lin Xian was overjoyed. Had the dark red divine dragon come out of seclusion? Haha, brat, get a little further away. I'm about to undergo tribulation. As soon as the dark red dragon came out, it roared loudly. But in the next moment he was also stunned. Oh my god, what's going on? Had the lightning tribulation already arrived? The dark red divine dragon looked around. There was a vast sea of lightning between heaven and earth. But that wasn't right. He had just triggered the heavenly tribulation, so it would probably take a while for it to arrive. Why did the lightning tribulation seem to have appeared for a long time? The dark red dragon was puzzled, but Lin Xian instantly understood. It turned out that the aura of lightning that had suddenly become stronger was not the power of the curse, but the heavenly tribulation that had been triggered by the dark red dragon's breakthrough. Don't think too much, ruffian dragon. I was the one who triggered the lightning tribulation. But now it's up to you. After saying that, Lin Xian waved his hand with a smile and flew into the distance. Fuck brat, don't trick me. There was already a lightning tribulation, and now there's a lightning tribulation. Do you want me to survive? The dark rainbow divine dragon kept roaring. He was extremely depressed. However, in the next moment, endless lightning fell from the sky again and enveloped the dark red dragon. 2 months later, the lightning tribulation finally disappeared. The dark red dragon's body was charred black, and black smoke was rising from it. He flew over shakily. Fuck, it hurts. It seemed that he had survived the lightning tribulation. Lin Xian flew over. You've become a half-saint. You're not slow either. He was very surprised because he found that the dark red dragon was also a half-saint. Of course. Brat, let's exchange blows. The dark red dragon's body swayed, and the black smoke on its body instantly disappeared. It waved its claws and endless fragments of the law of lightning rushed over, forming bolts of lightning that surged out. Ah, good. Lin Xian controlled the fragments of the law of fire and rushed up to fight with it. The two of them exchanged blows, shaking heaven and earth. Fortunately, there was no one within a radius of 30 million miles. Otherwise they would have wet their pants. 10 days later, the dark red dragon muttered in dissatisfaction. Fuck, I don't want to fight anymore. You've actually mastered 2 fragments of the law of fire. Also, how can your physique be so strong? Your dragon sword soul has also improved, right? The dark red dragon was very depressed because he found that he could not defeat his opponent. To be more precise, the two of them were tied. That was unbelievable. This time he used the great inheritance of the dragons to directly break through to the half-saint realm, and his strength increased greatly. In his opinion he should have surpassed Lin Xian. Initially he had planned to teach this kid a lesson. However, he realized that he couldn't do it. His opponent's growth speed was beyond his expectations. He was not slower than him at all and even surpassed him by a little. On the other side, Lin Xian retracted his hand, and he was also very shocked. The dark red dragon's cultivation had reached the half-saint realm, and he had also comprehended 2 fragments of the law of fire. The laws of lightning and the laws of water. In addition, the other party was of the divine dragon race, and his physique was not weaker than his divine body. It could be said that the dark red dragon's strength was on par with his. This made Lin Xian shocked and happy at the same time. With such a powerful companion by her side, not many people would dare to provoke her in the future. The little white monkey also jumped out and looked at the dark red dragon, waving its little claws. "Why, little one, you want to fight me too? Forget it, you'd better go treasure hunting." The dark red dragon shook his head, and did not fight with the little white monkey. This caused Xiaobai to puff up in anger. Lin Xian grabbed little white and rubbed it in his arms. Then he asked, "Your talent is too strong. You should be equivalent to the dragon crown prince among the dragons, right?" He was probably the only one who could keep up with this speed of improvement. The other geniuses might not be able to keep up. However, the dark red dragon shook his head. "No, I'm not at the dragon crown prince level. Kit, you're underestimating the dragons. As far as I know, the real dragon crown prince, who is the son of the great emperor, should be at the sage level when he is born." Chapter 3197. What? The dragon prince was a saint the moment he was born. Lin Xian was extremely shocked, and his expression turned grave. This was the first time he had heard such news. Previously, when the true spirit world was in chaos, countless primordial kings and saints had appeared. However, the dragon prince, the Qilin prince, and the princess of the phoenix race had not appeared. However, it was rumored that all 3 of them had been revived. Didn't this mean that they were already saints the moment they lost repeatedly? In that case, what level had the 3 of them reached? Among the sages he should be very powerful. Lin Xian took a deep breath. It seems that my cultivation path is still very long. Lin Xian felt a trace of pressure. He had to become a saint as soon as possible, or at least have the strength to contend with a saint. Kid, don't be discouraged. After all, the son of a great emperor has inherited the great emperor's bloodline, and it is the purest great emperor's bloodline. Their strength is naturally very strong. Your current speed is already very heaven-defying. At this rate, your future achievements will not be weaker than theirs. The dark red dragon said from the side. Lin Xian nodded. Although he was shocked, he was not afraid. After all, the reason he took the title Lin Wuti was that he was determined to be invincible in the world. "Let's go." Waving his hand, Lin Xian, the snow-white marquis, and the dark red dragon set off again. After flying for a few days, Lin Xian frowned. He sensed that there were several powerful auras on the blood-refining planet, quickly flying into the sky and towards the outer realm. What's going on? Those people should be half-saints, right? The dark red dragon was also puzzled. Logically speaking, half-saints should not appear in such a group. Something must have happened. Could there be a war in the outer realm? Hearing this, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Perhaps it was possible. After all, when he and Patriarch Xuepao fought before, many saints had come to watch the battle. Now that these saints had gone to the outer realm, perhaps there really were some geniuses fighting. The 2 of them soared into the sky. The snow-white little monkey lay on Lin Xian's shoulder, yawning in boredom and squinting its big eyes. It didn't take long for them to arrive at the outer realm. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon brandished their nomological fragments, blocking the extraterrestrial aura. They stood in the starry sky looking into the distance. Then they frowned. There was no great battle. The half-saints boarded a special spirit boat and flew into the distance. What's going on? The 2 of them frowned and looked at each other. Let's continue to follow them. Lin Xian also took out his spirit boat. It wasn't the Black Earth, but the spirit boat that the mountain-gazing peak lord had given him. Let's go. The group boarded the spirit boat and flew over quickly. In the silent and cold universe, several rays of light streaked across one after another. Among them there was a red spirit boat. It was very majestic like a running lion. It was surrounded by flowing light and looked extraordinarily mighty. At this moment in the spirit vessel, a middle-aged man opened his eyes and frowned. "How dare you follow us? Master, let your disciple do it." At this moment, a figure walked over and said respectfully. This scene was very strange because the person who called himself his disciple was a white-haired old man. Sitting there was a young and mighty middle-aged man. However, this was normal in the cultivation world. This was because the middle-aged man was a half-saint, and this white-haired old man was only a warrior who had comprehended something close to Tao. Master, let me go too. At this moment another young man walked out. All right, the two of you go out and see who dares to follow me. The old man and the young man left the spirit boat in a flash. In the next moment they appeared in the endless cold universe. There was a silver pagoda above their heads. Its aura hung down and shrouded the two of them. It was a half-saint artifact. The half-saint runes on it flickered, allowing them to float in the cold universe. The corners of the black-robed youth's mouth curled into a sneer as he looked at the spirit boat that was flying towards him from behind. He gathered all his strength and slashed out with his sword. A ray of sword radiance shot up into the sky and slashed forward. It was like a rainbow that lit up the surroundings. With a boom, the sword slashed the spirit boat behind them. Immediately, a shocking storm was set off. The spirit boat behind them trembled violently. In the spirit boat, Lin Xin opened his eyes. There was a biting cold light in his eyes. The dark red divine dragon beside him jumped up. Damn it! Who dares to attack us? The little white monkey waved its little paws in protest. It was very displeased. Let this emperor take a look at which reckless person actually dares to attack us. The dark red divine dragon waved its claws and controlled the array. The scene outside appeared on the light screen in front of them. In the cold darkness of the universe, two figures stood there. There was a silver pagoda above their heads. They were like gods of war blocking their way. The young man among the two was holding a long sword that was emitting a biting cold light. It was obvious that he was the one who had attacked. There was a spirit boat floating in the distance. Seeing this scene, the dark red divine dragon was enraged. Damn it! It's the spirit boat that we're following. It seems that they've discovered us. So what if they've discovered us? How dare they attack us? Let's go out and take a look. Lin Xin left the spirit boat in a flash. The dark red divine dragon snorted and came out with a swing of its tail. In the next moment the two of them walked out. In front, the white-haired old man and the black-robed young man sneered when they saw Lin Xin and the dark red divine dragon. Whose disciples are you two? How dare you follow us? You really don't know what's good for you? The white-haired old man snorted. The black-robed young man beside him said, Senior brother, don't talk nonsense with them. They're just two people who don't know what's good for them. How dare they secretly follow us? Just kill them. Their spirit boat is not bad. After killing them, I'll report to Master and ask him to reward me with this spirit boat. His words made Lin Xin and the dark red divine dragon's faces darken. This kid isn't young anymore, but he's quite arrogant. He's so ruthless at such a young age. He'll be a scourge in the future. Why don't I help your master get rid of him today? The dark red divine dragon walked out. Lin Xin stood at the side with his hands behind his back. He could tell at a glance that the two people in front of him were only martial artists who had comprehended close to the Tao. They were far inferior compared to them. The dark red divine dragon could easily get rid of them. Damn it, where did this snake come from? You're courting death. The black-robed young man was enraged and threw out another sword. The sword chi in murderous intent surged and shattered the void. However, the dark red divine dragon was disdainful. So you've only grasped power close to the Tao. How dare you be arrogant in front of me? The crimson dragon didn't dodge when faced with this shocking sword. It opened its bloody mouth and sucked the sword chi into its stomach. Then it pouted. Is this all you've got? Chapter 3198. That sword contained a power that was close to the Tao. Even martial artists of the same level would not dare to block it, but the snake in front of them had swallowed it? Moreover, it was completely fine. What kind of person was that? The white-haired old man's eyelids were also twitching wildly. Junior brother, come back quickly. This snake is not simple. Snake my ass. I'm a dragon. And a divine dragon. The dark red divine dragon swung its tail and instantly appeared in front of the two. With a slap, a claw struck out and the two of them were slapped. Half of their faces and half of their bodies turned into a bloody mist. Their broken bodies flew into the distance. Boom. The young man in black screamed as if he had gone crazy. Damn snake, how dare you kill me? I'm going to kill you. I'll definitely kill you. Boom. His body was shattered again. On the other side, the white-haired old man's pupils constricted. Oh no, this power had completely surpassed theirs. Could it be that this was a demonic beast at the half-step saint level? Thinking of this, he hurriedly sent a voice transmission. They could not fight against such a figure. In fact, there was no need for them to send a voice transmission. A middle-aged man walked out of the spirit boat in the distance. He took a step forward and instantly arrived beside the two. With a wave of his sleeve, the two's bodies returned to normal. "Thank you, master." The white-haired old man stood up and stood respectfully behind the middle-aged man. The young man in black next to him gritted his teeth and said, "Master, avenge me. You must kill them. Tear them into pieces." "Which force are you from?" The middle-aged man in front frowned and asked. He was a half-step saint, so he could naturally feel that the dark red divine dragon carried a shocking power. That was a fragment of the law of thunder. "You're their master? Your two disciples are too reckless. How dare they provoke me? Old thing, tell me, how are you going to compensate me?" The dark red divine dragon said coldly. "You're courting death." The middle-aged man was furious. So what if the other party was a half-step saint? He was also a half-step saint. "You're a demonic beast that's wreaking havoc in the human world. Today I'll kill you." "Buzz." The middle-aged man stretched out his palm. His large palm seemed to have turned into a long saber that cut through the void. On his palm, the fragments of the law danced, and the terrifying power of the law swept through the world. "Do you think I'm scared of you?" The dark red divine dragon rushed up and used the law of thunder to fight. The two of them fought an earth-shattering battle, and neither of them was able to determine the victor. Damn it, how is this possible? How could this demonic dragon be so powerful? In the distance, the white-haired old man and the black-clothed youth watched with trepidation. Their master was a half-saint who had been famous for hundreds of years. How could he not be able to do anything to the other party? This was simply too unbelievable. On the other side, Lin Xian was extremely calm because he knew that the dark red divine dragon would definitely win this battle. This was because the dark red divine dragon had another type of law fragment. Sure enough, the dark red divine dragon used the law of water fragment and instantly sent the middle-aged half-saint flying. The middle-aged half-step saint coughed up blood and flew backward. His body was shattered and his face was extremely ugly. Two types of law powers. Who are you? Who am I? You can call me Lord Dragon Emperor. The dark red dragon sneered. "Tell me, how are you going to compensate me now?" The middle-aged man hurriedly swallowed a pill and mobilized the power of laws to repair his body. In the next moment, he waved his hand and directly grabbed his two disciples in the distance. Then with a kick he broke their legs. At the same time, a cold voice was heard. "How dare you offend a half-saint? Quickly kowtow and apologize." The white-haired old man and the black-clothed youth's faces immediately became extremely distorted. However, they did not dare to resist at all. They hurriedly knelt in the void and kept kowtowing. "Lord Dragon Emperor, we were wrong. Lord Dragon Emperor, please spare our lives." At the same time, the middle-aged half-step saint took out a white jade bottle and said, "There are 10 demon cores of demon kings that are close to the Tao inside. Please don't refuse." The dark red divine dragon raised his eyebrows and directly waved his dragon claw. Then he said casually, "All right. I'll spare your lives this time." Hearing this, the white-haired old man and the black-clothed youth who were kneeling on the ground heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, Lin Xian walked over from afar. He looked at the middle-aged man in front of him and asked coldly, "Let me ask you, where are you going with so many half-saints? Who is this person?" When the middle-aged man saw a young man walking over, he immediately frowned. He admired the dark red divine dragon in front of him, but it did not mean that anyone could ask him questions. However, when he saw that the dark red divine dragon and the young man in front of him were friends, the middle-aged man was stunned. Could it be that he was also a half-saint? Heavens, he's too young. No. Maybe he's an old monster who deliberately disguised himself as a young man. He also knew that some old monsters at the half-saint level always like to disguise themselves as young people. This person might be one of them. The middle-aged man took a deep breath and said, "You two don't know?" Lin Xian shook his head. "We just came out of seclusion and don't know what happened. It was like this. Something happened when they fell into the abyss, which attracted countless geniuses and half-step saints to go there." "All fell into the abyss?" Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. This was a very famous place. He had heard of it more than once. It was not inferior to the blood-refining planet. Moreover, it seemed that the Qi family patriarch's injuries were caused when he fell into the abyss. "I will tell you the details later. Why don't the two of you take a seat in my spirit boat? What do you think?" "That's good." Lin Xian nodded and waved his hand to put away his spirit boat. Then he and the dark red divine dragon flew forward together. Soon, everyone gathered in the middle-aged man's spirit boat. The spirit boat flew quickly again. Inside, Lin Xian, the dark red divine dragon, and the middle-aged man sat facing each other. The snow-white young marquis hugged a large wine gourd and drank non-stop. The white-haired old man and the black-robed young man respectfully stood at the side and poured tea for Lin Xian and the other two from time to time. The middle-aged man was called Jin Yuanzi, and he was a half-saint. At this moment he had already told them about the fall into the abyss. Lin Xian was extremely surprised. There was such a rumor about the fall into the abyss, and such a scene had appeared. No wonder these half-saints wanted to go. It turned out that there was the secret to becoming a saint. Beside him, the dark red divine dragon's eyes lit up. "Kid, this is a great opportunity for us. We must not miss it." Lin Xian nodded. He had the same idea. After all, he knew that the Dragon Crown Prince and the Qilin Crown Prince were born saints. If he wanted to compete on the path of the great emperor, he had to reach the saint realm as soon as possible. "Don't worry, I'm going to fall into the abyss this time. However, there's still some time before I fall into the abyss, about a month or so. During this time, why don't we exchange pointers?" "That's good too." Next, the three of them exchanged their own nomological fragments and discussed together. For these cultivators, a month's time passed very quickly. On this day the three of them stopped discussing and stood up. Jin Yuanzi looked outside and said with a smile, "We've arrived at the falling star." Chapter 3199. Below them was a gray star world with a huge crack that occupied half of the entire star world, as if it was going to split the whole world in half. Lin Xian had seen such a scene before on the dark star. At that time there was also a huge canyon on the dark star. It was said that it was split open by a sage. How did the falling abyss form? Was it formed naturally or was it split open by someone? However, the falling star was much bigger than the dark star that Lin Xian had been to before. The huge crack in the falling abyss was also much bigger. At this moment, it looked like a black dragon was entrenched in the void. It was very terrifying. Bus. The spirit boat rushed down quickly, rushing through countless astral winds and finally arrived at the falling star. The falling star was completely different from the returning star in the true spirit world. The whole world was gray. It was gray and gloomy, and there was a gloomy aura everywhere, as if it could freeze people into popsicles. It was not only for the body but also for the soul. Sure enough, it was a dangerous place. Lin Xian frowned when he felt the aura. It seemed that this place was more dangerous than he had imagined. "Let's go," and set off towards the falling abyss. Jin Yuanzi waved his hand, and the spirit boat quickly streaked across the void. Below them, some warriors frowned when they saw this. It was another spirit boat. It was another person from the outer realm. How many people had there been? Why were there so many people here? The skin of these warriors was gray, and the aura on their bodies was extremely gloomy, as if they were devils. However, they were not devils but native warriors of the falling star. They had been absorbing the gloomy demonic aura of the falling star all year round, which was why their aura was so gloomy. Another person said, "It was caused by the falling abyss. Even ghosts would know that there were treasures in there. However, our cultivations are too weak. Yes, without a half-step sage leading the way, it was impossible to enter." The last person snorted coldly. "These hateful extraterrestrial warriors, just wait, they will all fall here. Do you think that the falling abyss is so easy to enter?" They estimated that after entering they would die 9 times out of 10. In the sky, the spirit boat continued to fly and finally arrived at the edge of the falling abyss. The evil Qi and ghost Qi here were very strong, so Gold Yuanzi had to stop. He looked at Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon and said, "You two, the falling abyss is just up ahead. I still have some old friends to meet, so I can't accompany you too. Don't worry, we just happen to want to look for it alone." Lin Xian bid farewell to Jin Yuanzi and left Lin Zhou with the dark red dragon. As soon as they came out, they felt a cold and gloomy aura sweeping toward them. However, these two people were both experts. With a cold snort, a powerful force shook off the aura. Then Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he looked around. Although the surrounding aura was dangerous, he could still see that under the gray sky, there were many figures flashing about. Every one of them was very strong. Even the weakest of them was a martial artist who had comprehended something close to the Tao. However, he had yet to see a half-saint. It should be in the deepest part. "Come on, let's go to the front and have a look." Lin Xian's figure swayed as he headed forward with the dark red divine dragon. After half a day the two of them stopped. There were many people in front of them. They were all young men and women, and they emitted a powerful aura. It was a power close to the Tao. This was a group of young geniuses, and there were many of them. It should be the geniuses of the nearby stellar worlds and the extraterritorial realm who had gathered here. When Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon landed, they found that there were not only humans, but also other 10,000 ancient races. They wondered if they were from the quintessential world or other stellar worlds. The arrival of the two of them naturally attracted the attention of the people in front of them. However, those people glanced at them and did not pay much attention. First of all, Lin Xian's face was very unfamiliar. They did not recognize him. Moreover, they did not sense any terrifying aura from Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon. However, in their opinion, since the two of them were able to come here, they either had some strength or some status. However, that was all. Who here wasn't a young prodigy? Who was not a person of status? Therefore, the people in front of them did not pay much attention to them at all. They were still discussing among themselves. In front of them, there was a huge open space with an array formation that formed an arena. There was a battle going on in the arena at the moment. One was a puppet that was completely black like a machine, while the other was a young genius. Even though that young genius had comprehended a power that was close to the Tao, he was still suppressed by the black puppet and eventually lost. This scene caused Lin Xian to be astonished. This puppet was not ordinary. The dark red divine dragon's eyes flickered. Indeed, I can feel a powerful force and a special array formation inside. This should be a puppet passed down from the ancient times. It was very likely that this puppet was the one that fell into the abyss. This puppet was very strong. It was close to the half-sage level. Even a genius close to the Tao could not defeat it. Lin Xian was shocked. A half-sage level puppet was definitely very precious. If he had two more puppets by his side, he could do whatever he wanted in the half-sage circle. In front of them, the young genius was defeated. At this moment, another man walked up. He was wearing a Taoist robe and his body was shining brightly as he said with a smile. Who else wants to give it a try? You only need to give me 100 magnificent heaven pills. You will have a chance to fight with this puppet. You have to know that this puppet is not ordinary. It is very close to the half-sage level. If you can fight with it, you will definitely benefit a lot. 100 magnificent heaven pills. Lin Xian also knew about the magnificent heaven pills. In the past he had also consumed them. It was a kind of spiritual medicine used for cultivation. It was better than a 9th grade king level pill, but it had not reached the level of a half-step holy pill. However, for these martial artists who were close to the Tao, cultivation was very useful. Some of them had even consumed magnificent heaven pills for half their lives. It could be said that magnificent heaven pills were not ordinary pills. They were more precious. Taking out 100 pills at once could be said to be an astonishing price. However, it was just a chance to fight. One had to say that the young man in the Taoist robe in front of them really knew how to do business. However, it was very rare to be able to fight with such a powerful puppet without any danger to one's life. Therefore, very soon, another genius came up. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon walked over. The dark red divine dragon said with a frown, "This puppet should have fallen into the abyss. How could it be controlled by that person?" Chapter 3200. The person in front of him was Prince Luo, a genius of the Luo family. That puppet had been subdued by the Luo family patriarch and controlled by an array formation. The Luo family had sent 2 half-sages this time. At this point, the surrounding geniuses were extremely envious. 2 half-sages. Prince Luo's status could be said to be extremely noble. It was no wonder that 2 half-sages had subdued the black puppet and placed a restriction on it. That was why Prince Luo was able to wantonly collect elixirs here. However, Lin Xian was also rather interested, so he was prepared to give it a try. He didn't want to gain any combat experience. He was just interested in the puppet and wanted to see if he could study its mysteries. Therefore, when the genius on the stage left the stage, Lin Xian handed over 100 magnificent sky pills and walked up. Previously, no one had paid attention to him. After all, there were too many geniuses like him. However, Lin Xian's actions after he went up caused an uproar. Lin Xian didn't make a move immediately. Instead, a mysterious rune shot out from his eyes and surged forward. Immediately, the black puppet in front of him became uneasy. In fact, even the radiance on it had dimmed. A ferocious and terrifying cold aura surged out and swept through the 9 heavens. What was going on? How could there be such a terrifying aura? The surrounding geniuses were all stunned. They couldn't imagine it, especially those who had been taught by Luo Yunyang. They were even more shocked. Previously, when they had fought with the puppet, although it was powerful, It hadn't emitted such a terrifying aura. The faces of the Luo family members changed. This was bad. Could the restriction set up by the patriarch have been broken? They knew that the black puppet was extremely violent. It was the guardian of the abyss. However, their patriarch had set up an array formation to seal its terrifying aura. Otherwise, these geniuses who were close to the Tao wouldn't have dared to exchange blows with it. However, they had never imagined that the young man in red would actually make the puppet explode when he went up. The array formation was about to disappear. This made Prince Luo extremely anxious. In the next instant he shouted coldly, "Hurry up and stop him. Don't let him continue fighting." Although he didn't know the reason, he could tell that Lin Xian's strange eyes were very likely the reason the black puppet had lost control. Prince Luo wasn't the only one in the Luo family. There were also some other young people and white-haired elders. Therefore, when they heard Prince Luo's words, all the elders and geniuses took action. 4 elders controlled the array formation, the black puppet's array formation. The array formation's array formation, suppressing the overflowing cold aura. At the same time, Prince Luo Yunyang Xian, Prince Luo Yunyang, the black puppet. Seeing that the black puppet had calmed down, the people of the Luo clan heaved a sigh of relief. Luo. Luo's young master Luo harumphed coldly. This damned brat actually dared to destroy the formation left behind by the Luo family's old ancestor. Luo's. Break his legs and chop him into pieces. When they heard Prince Luo's order, the 3 young geniuses strode towards Lin Xian. Terrifying energy surged from their bodies, forming a cage that locked Lin Xian in place. The surrounding geniuses' faces changed. Soon someone sneered. This kid really doesn't know what's good for him. That's right. What he used just now should be an eye technique. It seems like he wants to find out the secret of the black puppet. But who does he think he is? How dare he do something in front of the Luo family? He's dead meat this time. Who asked him to be so reckless? Numerous discussions resounded. As far as they were concerned, Lin Xian was definitely going to die. The dark red divine dragon sneered when he saw this. What a reckless kid. In front of him, Lin Xian's face darkened. To be honest, he hadn't expected the black puppet's aura to be so cold and violent. However, when he heard Prince Luo's words and saw the surrounding people's actions, his face darkened. What's going on? How dare these people attack me? They want to kill me? He was a sage to be. He was on the same level as the patriarch of these people. How dare these people attack me? Even if he took the black puppet away on the spot, who would dare to say anything, let alone find out the secret of the black puppet? Looking at the 3 young geniuses, Lin Xian was instantly enraged. He snorted coldly and a sharp light burst out from his eyes. Like 2 golden swords he slashed forward. Boom. Wherever his gaze passed, everything was shattered. The attacks of the 3 geniuses were shattered. Not only that, but the 3 of them were also sent flying. This person is so powerful. Who is he? He's probably also a genius. The surrounding people were all stunned when they saw this scene. In their opinion, Lin Xian was dead meat. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. Prince Luo's face was hideous. Damn it, how dare he hit someone from the Luo family? This is unforgivable. He said coldly. Kill him. Don't hold back. Destroy his heart and soul. Hearing this, the 4 Luo family elders in front turned their heads. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. They didn't hesitate at all. An ancient lamp bloomed with white light in the sky and slashed down from the sky. A purple bead burst out with lightning bolts that filled the sky as it rushed over. The ground cracked open. 2 grayish-white claws grabbed at Lin Xian's body, trying to tear him apart. The last elder uttered a roar and lashed out with his fiery red palm, which covered the entire place. The 4 elders were very powerful. When they attacked together, the surrounding geniuses' faces changed. They were afraid that even an elite who was close to the Tao would be reduced to ashes. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Previously, he had sent all of them flying on account of the patriarch of the Luo clan and did not kill them. However, you don't know what's good for you. You want to destroy my heart and soul? If that's the case, you can all go to hell. He stomped his foot and the ground cracked open. 4 flaming sword lights rushed out from the ground and instantly shattered the 4 elders' attacks. Not only that, the 4 long swords also split the 4 Luo family elders in half. Their broken bodies were ignited and burned fiercely. In an instant they were reduced to ashes. The 4 Luo family elders did not even have time to let out a scream before they were beheaded. What? How can this person be so powerful? This time the surrounding geniuses were all stunned. If Lin Xian's ability to repel the three Sky Prides had shocked them before, they were now shocked. Now they were already terrified. Many of them were so scared that they almost wet their pants. The four elders were not weaker than them. Moreover, they were extremely experienced in combat. When the four of them joined forces, they could instantly kill any one of them. However, the end result of those four elders was that their bodies and souls were destroyed. They were burned to ashes. The people of the Luo family were also stunned. Prince Luo's face turned pale. However, it soon turned into a monstrous viciousness. Damn it, how dare he kill the people of the Luo family? Men, kill him. Chapter 3201. Crazy roars were heard as the Luo family's powerhouses moved out one after another. Some of them even controlled the black puppet to attack quickly. Lin Xian's figure flashed and instantly appeared in front of Luo Gongzi, grabbing his head with one hand. Damn it, get lost. Luo Gongzi's pupils constricted. Su Qin was a ruthless person who had killed four elders in an instant. He did not dare to fight against him. Therefore he quickly retreated. At the same time he opened his mouth and spat out a black flying dagger. The black flying dagger was a sage-level weapon. It was very terrifying when it was used. Ha, kid, go to hell. Luo Gongzi was very ferocious. At such a close distance, coupled with his full strength, Su Qin would definitely die. Bang. The sage-level flying dagger was slapped away by Lin Xian. Crack. In the next moment, Su Qin grabbed Luo Gongzi's head. Ah. Luo Gongzi let out a miserable cry. His eyes were filled with fear. How was this possible? Su Qin had easily slapped away his attack. And he had subdued him in an instant. Luo Gongzi felt as if his body was firmly grasped by a pair of invisible hands. He could not exert any strength at all. Damn it, let go of our young master. The people of the Luo family also roared crazily. The geniuses and warriors of the other families were stunned. Heavens, who is this person? Isn't he too powerful? Damn kid, let go of me. Do you believe that our patriarch won't slap you to death when he comes? If you dare to touch me, you're definitely dead. Slap me to death? Lin Xian sneered. He waved his hand and threw Luo Gongzi away. He stood with his hands behind his back. Then call the patriarch of the Luo family here. Let's see if he dares to slap me to death. Are you all right, young master? The elders of the Luo family hurriedly caught Luo Gongzi and heaved a sigh of relief. Luo Gongzi was trembling with anger. Good kid, you're really arrogant. No one has ever dared to provoke the Luo family like this. Just you wait. Luo Gongzi took out a voice transmission talisman and hurriedly sent a voice transmission to his patriarch. During this period, the surrounding elites were stunned. Heavens, no way? This kid is not running? Is he really going against the patriarch? What a joke. No matter how strong he was, how could he be a match for the Luo family's patriarch? That was a half-saint. Yes, I've only heard that among the younger generation, there's a Lin Wuti who can contend against a half-saint. Unfortunately, he had already died to the blood curse of the Great Scarlet Plains. Lin Wuti, could it be this kid's nickname? This was too arrogant. The dark red divine dragon rolled its eyes when it heard that. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Most of these people had heard of his reputation, but not many had actually seen him. Therefore, these people did not recognize him at all. Otherwise, this young Master Luo would not have dared to be so arrogant. Boom. The sky shattered, and a wisp of the Sage-to-Be's power came down, crushing half of the void. Ancestor. When young Master Luo saw this scene, he immediately cheered. The Luo family warriors also heaved a sigh of relief. The patriarch of the Luo clan had arrived. Indeed, an old man in a Taoist robe appeared in the sky. He was holding a walking stick. He descended in an incomparably domineering manner like a god. Boom, boom, boom. Several figures appeared in the surroundings, and each of them was extremely terrifying. At this moment, all the supreme talents were out of breath. Their eyes widened in shock. Sage-to-Be. There was more than one Sage-to-Be. Several Sage-to-Be had descended. Heavens, that kid is dead meat. Su Qin also narrowed his eyes. More than one? But soon, the corner of his mouth curled into a smile. It seemed that he had met a few acquaintances. He did not attack. Beside him, the dark red divine dragon quickly came to Lin Xian's side as if it was facing a formidable enemy. After all, the other party had sent 4 Sage-to-Be this time. Kid, the situation is not good. The dark red divine dragon transmitted its voice. Lin Xian waved his hand. Was fine. He did not believe that the other party would dare to touch him. After the patriarch of the Luo clan landed, he asked coldly, "What's going on?" "Ancestor. Kill him quickly. This kid dares to threaten me and kill the 4 elders of the Luo clan." "What? Who is it?" The patriarch of the Luo clan was instantly enraged. His aura was like the roar of a real dragon. His eyes were like rainbows as he stared at Lin Xian. At the same time, the other 3 people beside him also looked at him. The next moment, the 2 of them exclaimed, "It's you, young Master Lin." When the 2 of them exclaimed, the patriarch of the Luo clan was stunned. The surrounding Luo clan martial artists and the Sky Prides were also stunned. What's going on? Could it be that the 2 sage-to-be knew this kid in front of them? It seemed that this kid's identity was not ordinary. He must be a genius disciple of some clan, right? As expected, the patriarch of the Luo clan frowned and asked coldly, "What's going on? Do the 2 of you know him? Is he a disciple of the Qi clan? Or is he Jin Yuanzi's disciple?" If that was the case, perhaps it would not be good for him to interfere. However, in the next moment he was stunned. In fact, he could not believe his eyes. Jin Yuanzi said, "Fellow cultivator, we meet again." Fellow cultivator. Jin Yuanzi actually called the other party a fellow cultivator. Heavens, what's going on? This is not how a senior should treat a junior. Could it be that the young man in front of him has such a high status that a sage-to-be would treat him with respect? Could it be that he's one of those terrifying clans? The patriarch of the Luo clan took a deep breath. He recalled that there were a few terrifying clans on the ancient path of stars. At this moment, the patriarch of the Qi clan walked out and looked in front of him. He was extremely excited. "Young Master Lin, it's you. It's really you. You're not dead." He was too shocked. After all, he knew that Lin Xian's real identity was Lin Wudi. He had reached the sage-to-be level at such a young age and had even killed Patriarch Xue Pao. However, wasn't he killed by Patriarch Xue Pao's curse? Why would he appear here? Could it be that he had withstood the curse of a sage-to-be level? At this thought, the patriarch of the Qi clan felt his scalp go numb. "Old Master Qi. I didn't expect to meet you here again," Lin Xian said with a smile. Then he looked at Jin Yuanzi and nodded slightly. The surrounding Sky Prides were in an uproar. Did they see wrongly? Lin Xian's attitude was so arrogant. He was a sage-to-be. They had to bow to him when they saw him. However, Lin Xian only nodded as if he did not care. The people of the Luo clan were also stunned. Young Master Luo looked at the patriarch of the Luo clan. The patriarch of the Luo clan took a deep breath and asked, "Fellow cultivator Qi, fellow cultivator Jin, may I know who this young man is?" "He's a fellow cultivator I met on the way here," Jin Yuanzi said. This was a young sage-to-be. What? A sage-to-be? He was a sage-to-be. The patriarch of the Luo clan gasped when he heard that. The martial artists of the Luo clan were dumbfounded. Chapter 3202. A half-step sage. Such a young half-step sage. How could this be? Could it be that the golden age had arrived? Those peerless geniuses had all been resurrected. Such a young half-step sage had completely surpassed them. The geniuses were all dumbfounded by what they saw. They were usually so proud. They were all geniuses who had stepped onto the ancient path of the starry sky. They had grasped the power of Tao and stood at the peak of the younger generation. But now, they were trampled under the feet of a person. Someone had surpassed them and comprehended the law fragment. This made them feel hopeless. This person was too terrifying. Damn it, we've been left far behind. First, there was Lin Wudi, and now there was a half-step sage. There would probably be more and more young half-step sages appearing in the future. Luo family was shocked. He did not expect the person in front of him to be a half-step sage. Their Luo family had provoked a half-step sage. This matter was not going to be easy to deal with. Perhaps he had to give some face. At this moment, the Qi family's patriarch took a deep breath and said. Everyone was familiar with the name of Lin Xian. It could be said that it was a well-known name. When these words came out, many people were stunned. Was this young man in front of them very famous? But why had they not heard of him? Wait, Lin Xian? Could it be? Someone was shocked and seemed to have guessed something. The Qi family's patriarch said loudly. I think some of you have guessed it. That's right, Lin Xian is Lin Wudi. What? Lin Wudi? He is Lin Wudi. The one who killed Patriarch Xue Pao, Lin Wudi. Everyone screamed crazily as if they had seen a ghost. Impossible. Luo family's patriarch also screamed. Lin Wudi had been killed by the half-step sage's curse. How could he be Lin Wudi if he died in the Great Scarlet Plain? He was really shocked. Was this a joke? Not only did he provoke a half-step sage, but he was also a terrifying killing god. The others were also confused. Yes, the half-step sage's curse had attracted such a terrifying heavenly tribulation. How did he escape? A mere half-saint's curse can't kill me, Lin Xian said proudly with his hands behind his back. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. He was too powerful. The person in front of them was simply a legend. That was a curse that Patriarch Shuepao had cast at the cost of his soul falling into eternal darkness. Even such a powerful attack had failed to kill the other party. There were probably very few half-sages who could kill him. At the side, the dark red dragon was extremely shocked. It did not expect Lin Xian to be so famous already. As soon as the name Lin Wuti was mentioned, the faces of the surrounding half-saints all changed. Sure enough, other than the Qi family patriarch, the other 3 half-saints were all stunned. Among them, Gold Origin was also extremely shocked. So he was Lin Wuti. Thinking of this, Gold Origin felt a trace of hope. The reason for that was because his disciples had clashed with Lin Xian. Fortunately, he had punished his 2 disciples at that time. Otherwise, if he had recklessly sparred with Lin Xian, he would probably have been killed by now. Thinking of this, Gold Origin felt a lingering fear. The patriarch of the Luo family's face also turned extremely ugly. He took a deep breath and said hurriedly, "I didn't expect it to be Lin Wuti. Young Master Lin has arrived." I'm sorry. Young Master Luo, who was standing at the side, was trembling. He was so scared that he almost peed his pants. Heavens, he had actually provoked an invincible demon king. Thinking of this, his scalp was about to explode. Seeing this, the patriarch of the Luo family naturally knew that there was a conflict between the 2 parties. He quickly said, "The younger generation of the Luo family did not know what was good for them and offended young Master Lin. I'll ask them to apologize to young Master Lin now." Speaking of this, the patriarch of the Luo family's face darkened. He looked at young Master Luo and the people around the Luo family and shouted coldly, "Apologize to young Master Lin now. Young Master Lin, I was wrong." Young Master Luo hurriedly bowed when he heard the apology. "Young Master Lin, I failed to recognize you and offended you. I hope you can forgive me." Speaking of this, his eyes were filled with resentment. This was because until now, he still could not imagine that the person in front of him was a terrifying half-saint. Seeing this, Lin Xian snorted coldly. "That's it? A half-saint is not to be humiliated. Don't you know the rules? You wanted to kill me before this." Speaking of this, Lin Xian's body emitted a terrifying aura. The faces of the Luo family's martial artists changed. Young Master Luo raised his head abruptly. He shouted coldly, "Damned brat, what do you want? Don't go overboard. Although you're a half-saint, the patriarch of the Luo family is also a half-saint. This time, the Luo family has sent 2 half-saints. Do you think we're afraid of you?" Hearing this, everyone was shocked. The patriarch of the Luo family's expression changed. "Shut up." He let out a loud shout. However, it was too late. Young Master Luo had already roared. His voice echoed in the surroundings. After hearing this, Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. "Does this mean that you want to attack me?" As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Xian suddenly disappeared. "No." The patriarch of the Luo family roared and waved his dragon-headed walking stick. Countless fragments of the Dharma quickly rose into the air and covered the sky. However, he was still a step too late. Lin Xian appeared in front of young Master Luo in an instant. With a wave of his hand, young Master Luo's body was instantly torn into pieces. He grabbed young Master Luo's head. Young Master Luo screamed crazily, but he could not resist at all. His eyes were filled with despair and fear. The disparity was too great. There was no way he could resist at all. He couldn't even block the slightest bit. He was someone who had comprehended the Tao. Is this the power of a half-saint? Young Master Luo screamed, "Patriarch, save me. Kill him. Kill him for me." "How dare you say that you're going to kill me?" Lin Xian snorted coldly. Young Master Luo's head split open, and his soul tried to escape. However, Lin Xian directly enveloped him and fixed him in the void. "Young Master Lin, no." The patriarch of the Luo family hurriedly said. Luo Tian was one of the most talented among the younger generation of the Luo family. He had already comprehended the power of the Tao. He estimated that in a few hundred years, he would very likely become another half-saint. Therefore, he was the future hope of the Luo family. How could he allow such a person to fall? "What? You dare to stop me?" Lin Xian looked at him disdainfully. The aura on his body became more and more terrifying. Rays of sword chi rushed to the 9 heavens and 10 lands. At this moment he was like a sword emperor. His powerful aura suppressed the surrounding geniuses, causing them to prostrate on the ground. The patriarch of the Qi family also changed his expression. Damn it, he's too strong. Why is his aura even stronger than before? The patriarch of the Luo family also narrowed his eyes. Brother Luo, don't act rashly. The patriarch of the Qi family advised from the side. He did not want the two to fight. Old ancestor Luo's face darkened. To be honest, even though the other party was Lin Wuti, wasn't he too much of a bully? How dare he kill a genius of the Luo family right in front of him? Chapter 3203. I'd like to see what you're capable of, Lin Wuti. The Luo family's patriarch took a step forward, and his aura exploded. The surrounding nomological fragments danced and pierced through the void. Beside him, the Qi family's patriarch sighed. He knew that the Luo family's patriarch was angry. He couldn't persuade him to change his mind. At this moment, Jin Yuanzi said, "No, Brother Luo, the one beside him is the dragons who are also half-sages." What? As soon as he said that, everyone was stunned. The Sky Prides were scared out of their wits. The Luo family's patriarch was also stunned. The dragon beside Luo family was also a half-sage? Oh my god, 2 half-sages. The Luo family's patriarch's body trembled slightly. In the next moment, a touch of darkness appeared in his eyes, and then the nomological fragments that filled the sky disappeared. His opponents were 2 half-sages. If they really fought, he wouldn't be able to defeat them. After all, he didn't have full confidence in facing Lin Xian. With the addition of the dragons, there was a 90% chance that he would be defeated. Although the few half-sages beside him were his friends, it was still uncertain whether they would help him if a fight broke out. However, in the void, Luo Tian acted recklessly. So what if you have 2 half-sages? Do you think the Luo family doesn't have any? Patriarch, hurry up and call him great ancestor. Both of you attack together and suppress this kid. What? Does the Luo family want to fight? If you really want to fight, I don't mind uprooting the Luo family. When Lin Xian said that, the 9 heavens and 10 lands trembled. The dark red divine dragon beside him roared and soared into the 9 heavens. Many people fainted because of this roar. Damn it. The Luo family's patriarch's face was extremely ugly. The Luo family did have 2 half-sages this time, but the other half-sages wasn't here. He wouldn't be here anytime soon. If they really fought, he would probably be the first to die. Looking at the other party, not only him, but the entire Luo family would suffer if they really fought. Young Master Lin, you must be joking. Why would I fight young Master Lin? The Luo family's patriarch shook his head. Luo Tian offended young Master Lin, and he deserved to die. I hope young Master Lin won't implicate the Luo family. As soon as he said that, the Sky Prides were shocked and lowered their heads. The Luo family's patriarch actually lowered his head. That was unbelievable. Was that Lin Xian? These 3 words were like a huge mountain, pressing down on them until they could not catch their breath. No. Patriarch, you can't give up on me. Luo Tian was scared. Previously, he thought that the Luo clan had 2 patriarchs, so he didn't put anyone in his eyes. So what if the other party was a half-step saint? Their Luo clan wasn't afraid even if it was 2 half-saints. But how could he have known that Lin Wuti was even more terrifying than he had imagined? Even the Luo clan's old ancestor did not dare to make a move and could only give up. Regret. Luo Tian was filled with regret. If the heavens gave him another chance, he would never dare to offend the other party. The next moment he quickly knelt down and kowtowed. That soul let out a thumping sound in the void. Young Master Lin, I was wrong. Please spare my dog life. Young Master Lin, please let me go. From now on, you are my master. Luo Tian's body trembled. Lin Xian sneered. He waved his hand and threw Luo Tian's soul to the Luo family's patriarch. You should know what to do. The Luo family's patriarch took a deep breath. Bastard. He offended a sage-to-be and implicated the Luo family. Now he had humiliated the Luo family. He deserved to die. The Luo family's patriarch smashed Luo Tian's soul with his palm. Luo Tian's soul let out a miserable shriek before disappearing into thin air. The Luo family's martial artists were so scared that they knelt on the ground and kowtowed. The other Sky Prides were pale. Luo Tian was dead. Luo Tian was killed by the Luo family's patriarch. The scene was too shocking. Are you satisfied, young Master Lin? The Luo family's patriarch asked after killing Luo Tian. I'll spare the Luo family this time. If you provoke me again, I'll kill you. Lin Xian snorted and looked at the Qi family's patriarch and Jin Yuanzi. How much do the two of you know about falling into the abyss? We don't know much, but Brother Qi came here 300 years ago, so he knows more than us. We're here to ask for Brother Qi's advice, Jin Yuanzi said. Lin Xian nodded. He knew that the Qi family's patriarch was injured when he fell into the abyss 300 years ago. Therefore, the Qi family's patriarch should know more. Young Master Lin, why don't you join us? We need some experts. The Qi family's patriarch smiled. All right. Lin Xian nodded and walked over with the dark red divine dragon. The Luo family's patriarch frowned. But soon, the coldness in his eyes disappeared. The current him was no match for Lin Xian at all. He would wait for the other sage-to-be of the Luo family to come back. He could only bear with it now. Lin Xian's attention was on the Qi family's patriarch because the Qi family's patriarch knew more than him. He said, "Everyone, let me say this first. It's very dangerous to fall into the abyss. Although I came here 300 years ago, I only walked a certain distance. I don't know how deep it is. However, there are many puppets in the distance that I walked. Those puppets are very strong, second only to a sage-to-be. Moreover, they move in groups. When they work together, their strength is very terrifying. That's why I've gathered all of you to fight them together. Also, the cold aura is very scary. It not only affects the body but also the soul. Therefore, you must protect yourselves well. Don't let the Yin ghosts and Yin demons invade you. Last time I was invaded by a Yin ghost. That's why I've been dying for 300 years. If it wasn't for young Master Lin, I would have gone to hell." What? The Qi family's patriarch's injury was healed by young Master Lin. Jin Yuanzi and the others were shocked. Luo family gasped. His eyes were full of shock. This young man was too scary. He was indebted to the Qi family's patriarch. At the thought of this, he quickly suppressed the thought of revenge. As the group of people spoke, they quickly flew forward. There had been 4 sage-to-be. With Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon, there were now 6 sage-to-be. The 6 of them turned into 6 rays of light and flew quickly in the sky. Everyone pay attention. We've completely entered the falling abyss. From now on there will be dark puppets appearing. Everyone must be careful. Don't let them discover you. Otherwise you'll be trapped by them. The Qi family's patriarch quickly formed a seal. Immediately, the nomological fragment danced and his aura was completely hidden. The other sage-to-be moved quickly as well. Above Gold Origin's head was a golden ball of light that enveloped him. The Luo family's patriarch put on a fiery red robe. The other sage-to-be was called the martial cultivation half-sage. Mysterious runes appeared on his body and covered his aura as well. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon used their special abilities. The aura of the 6 people completely disappeared in the void. The sage-to-be's methods were exquisite. However, after half a day, the Qi family's patriarch's face turned ugly. Lin Xian also frowned. Chapter 3204. They felt as if there was a pair of eyes staring at them from the void, which sent chills down their spines. Impossible. We've already concealed our aura. How can they still detect us? Gold Origin frowned. I'm afraid it's a formation. We must have been caught by the formation. The dark red divine dragon spoke. He was an expert in formations, so he could naturally sense that there was an invisible formation between heaven and earth that had enveloped them. How could it be like this? Everyone frowned. Suddenly, there was a violent fluctuation in front of them. Then heaven and earth boiled and the void shattered. Someone was fighting. The Qi family patriarch and the others exclaimed. The dark red divine dragon waved his dragon claws and instantly formed a formation that reflected the scene in front of them. What a brilliant formation! The Qi family patriarch and the others were shocked. They did not expect the dark red divine dragon to be an expert in formations. But now they could not care less. Their eyes were fixed on the scene in front of them. There was a team of 4 in front of them. 2 of them were sage-to-be, and 2 of them were sky prides who were close to the Tao. Black figures appeared around them. There were 20 of them densely packed together. The 20 black puppets attacked together, causing the heavens and earth to explode. Strong winds blew between heaven and earth, and a terrifying force shrouded the 4 of them. The 4 of them fought back crazily, but each of the black puppets was far stronger than the martial artists who were close to the Tao. The 20 black puppets attacked together, and the 2 sky prides who were close to the Tao could not resist at all. They were instantly defeated. Even the 2 sage-to-be were suppressed. In the end, the 4 of them were completely annihilated. This scene left the Qi clan's patriarch and the others dumbfounded. Those were sage-to-be. They were the same as them. But they were killed? And there were two of them. This made their hair stand on end. Damn it. Why are there so many black puppets? Gold Origin sucked in a breath of cold air. The combined strength of 20 black puppets was simply too powerful. Even they would find it difficult to deal with them. Let's be careful. The Luo family patriarch said in a deep voice. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. What a powerful black puppet, and there were too many of them. If there were only one of them, they would not be afraid at all. But there were dozens of them at the same time. This formed a terrifying force. Moreover, the black puppets were not the only ones who fell into the abyss. There were probably other dangers. At this moment, another scream was heard from their right. Everyone quickly turned their heads to look at the source of the scream. Lin Xian's eyes flickered with a golden light that pierced through the void. In the next moment he sucked in a breath of cold air. Another half-saint had fallen. The Qi family patriarch and the others swallowed their saliva when they saw this. Following that, 3 more screams were heard. Clearly, more half-saints had fallen. Among them, there were even more martial artists who were close to the Dao who had perished. Damn it, how did this happen? The patriarch of the Luo clan and the others clenched their fists tightly. This place was actually so terrifying. Now they were somewhat regretful. After all, 6 half-saints had fallen in a short while. If this happened outside, it would definitely shock the world. But here he had died without a sound. Fellow Daoist Qi, are you confident? Jin Yuanzi, the Luo clan's ancestor, and Xiao Wu all looked at the Qi clan's ancestor. The Qi family's patriarch took in a deep breath. Initially he was brimming with confidence. However, after witnessing this scene, his heart was beating like a drum. To be honest, I'm not 100% confident either. However, I'm at least 50% confident. Hearing this, the Luo clan's ancestor and the others' faces changed. Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Since that was the case, let's begin. Since we're already here, we have to give it a try. Indeed, although a half-saint had fallen, it couldn't stop Lin Xian's footsteps. He had to see him fall into the abyss. Even if these people didn't go, he would go. However, with the Qi family's ancestor around, it would be more convenient. After all, he had been here 300 years ago. Since young Master Lin has said so, I'll give it a try. The Qi family's ancestor took a deep breath and looked around. Although I've been here 300 years ago, the scene now is different from 300 years ago. 300 years ago it wasn't so dangerous. Moreover, there's chaotic Qi and light in the abyss today. It's obvious that something has changed. As the Qi family's ancestor spoke, he formed a seal with his palms. Stars lit up on his body one after another. There were a total of 7 stars shining in the sky. Star deduction. Seeing this, the Luo clan's ancestor and the others were filled with anticipation. Let's go this way. The Qi family's ancestor waved his hand and led the others to fly to the left. After an incense stick's time, they were attacked. Not good. The Qi family's ancestor exclaimed. What's going on? Have we been discovered? The half-saints were surprised. There were no black puppets around. The dark red dragon god Fist said. They had encountered an array formation. He pointed at the void below. Indeed, there were a few runes shining there. Damn it. The Qi family's ancestor and the others felt their scalps go numb. The half-saints' faces changed and they quickly fled. Bus. There was a violent fluctuation between heaven and earth. Black figures appeared one after another. Then a series of terrifying attacks rushed over. Not good. Hurry up and defend. The Qi family's ancestor roared. The stars on his body connected and formed a starry sky chart that shrouded everyone. With a clang, the attacks in the sky hit the starry sky chart, causing the starry sky chart to shake violently. However, the starry sky chart withstood the attacks. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. The Qi family's ancestor waved his hand and said, "Hurry up and leave." As soon as he said that, the starry sky chart above his head broke and a black light split him in half. The Qi family's ancestor screamed. The stars in the sky flickered and 7 stars shrouded him. His body quickly healed. The people around him were scared out of their wits. At the same time, Jin Yuanzi took out a large golden umbrella and covered everyone. The Luo family's ancestor took out a large cauldron and kept enlarging it to cover everyone. With 2 layers of defense, the half-saints heaved a sigh of relief. However, in the next moment, the 2 layers of defense shook violently. It was as if they would break at any time. Not good. Jin Yuanzi and the Luo family's ancestors' faces changed. They quickly formed a seal. The Dharma fragments kept flying. However, in the next moment, the 2 layers of defense were broken again. Their Dharma treasures flew out. At the same time, 20 black puppets appeared around them. Each of them exuded a powerful aura. Individually, they were not as strong as them. However, when 20 of them joined forces, the aura they formed was too strong. So okay. We can still fight against 20 of them. Indeed, they had 6 half-saints on their side. However, in the next moment their faces changed and they even became frightened. Chapter 3205. A total of 40 black puppets surrounded them. There was no way for them to escape. Damn it, why are there so many of them? The Qi family patriarch and the others turned pale. If there were 20 of them they could still fight. But how could they fight 40 of them? They would most likely die. Boom. The black puppets were on the move. Their auras were so terrifying that they resonated with the entire abyss. Suddenly, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shattered, and the light shrouded the Qi family patriarch and the others. Fight back. Don't hold back. The Qi family patriarch and the others roared crazily. The few half-saints attacked crazily. They weren't young geniuses. They were all veteran powerhouses who had experienced countless battles. Their experiences were plentiful. They had many trump cards. So when they attacked, they sent a dozen black puppets flying. Boom. The 7 stars around the Qi family patriarch were like a starry sky dragon, shattering the void. As it roared, it forced the black puppets to retreat. Jianghu called back the golden umbrella in the sky. The golden umbrella whistled, bringing about a powerful storm. Countless golden lights turned into shooting stars, piercing through the 9 heavens. The cauldron above the Luo family patriarch's head waved its hands, bringing with it thousands of rays of light and countless law fragments. Xiao Wu roared, clenched his fist and punched. He was a body-refining half-saint. The law fragments on his body trembled, and the power was strong enough to shatter the world. The 4 half-saints attacked together, and the power was terrifying. But this time there were 40 black puppets. These black puppets could combine with each other to form a large array. Together with the aura of the abyss, the power was equally terrifying. So in an instant, the Qi family patriarch and the others were in danger. The 40 puppets attacked crazily. They were not afraid of death and they did not feel pain. Boom. The 4 puppets stacked on top of each other, and the monstrous aura formed a giant sword, which cut the starry sky dragon into pieces. The Qi family patriarch was also sent flying and one of his arms was cut off. Among them, 20 of the puppets had black spears in their hands. They attacked together, forming a black light beam, and sent the cauldron beside the Luo family patriarch flying. At the same time, the black spears pierced through the Luo family patriarch's body. Then the Luo family patriarch was torn apart. The black puppets went berserk. Next, Jianghu and Xiao Wu were seriously injured. Their bodies were instantly destroyed. These were all half-sages. They quickly reassembled, but soon they were shattered again. Damn it, he's too strong. These 40 puppets together were simply too powerful. I must separate these puppets. The Qi family patriarch roared like a madman. However, just as he finished speaking, 40 black fists once again smashed into his body. Not only that, this time, a terrifying aura appeared on the bodies of the 40 cultivators, which formed into a gray claw that grabbed at the Qi clan patriarch's shattered body. From the looks of it, he wanted to crush his soul. No. The Qi clan's ancestor screamed like a madman. Could it be that he was going to die here? Fellow Daoist Qi. Jianghu and the other 2 roared furiously as well. However, their bodies had just been reassembled, so they couldn't help in time. At the most critical moment, a sword light descended from the sky. It was incomparably vast and carried with it a fiery red radiance as it slashed over. With a slash, the gray claw was destroyed. Not only that, but the void within a radius of tens of thousands of miles completely collapsed, forming a huge crack. Phew. The Qi clan's ancestor heaved a sigh of relief. The Luo family patriarch and the others were shocked. Who was this? This sword strike was too terrifying. It made their hair stand on end. This was definitely a top expert. Are you all right? A faint voice was heard. Hearing this voice, the Luo family patriarch and the others quickly turned their heads and looked over. They saw fragments of the Law of Fire dancing on Lin Xian's arm. It was obvious that he was the one who had struck out with the sword. This brat was actually so strong. Everyone was shocked, especially the Luo family patriarch. Cold sweat dripped down his forehead. Fortunately, he didn't fight with Lin Xian before. Otherwise, he would have ended up in a miserable state. Thank you, young Master Lin, for helping. The Qi clan's ancestor's face was filled with gratitude. If it wasn't for Lin Xian, his soul would have been destroyed. Jin Yuanzi and Xiao Wu were also shocked. Was this Lin Wuti? He was indeed strong. No wonder he could kill Patriarch Shuepao. Young Master Lin, what do you think we should do? The Qi clan's ancestor looked at Lin Xian. The Luo family patriarch and the others also looked over. Although Lin Xian was a few thousand years younger than them, at this moment they had to follow Lin Xian's lead. These 40 puppets knew how to attack together. They were very powerful when they worked together, but if they were scattered, they wouldn't be a threat. They understood the principle, but they couldn't do it. The Qi clan's ancestor and the others sighed. No worries, leave it to me. Lin Xian stood out. Ruffian dragon, get ready. The dark red dragon flew over. No problem, we can start at any time. Good. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. The flame aura on his body instantly erupted like a volcano. It made the 9 heavens and 10 earths tremble. The fragment of the law of fire accompanied his fist and blasted out. This punch was like a god descending, shattering the sky. Buzz. The 40 black puppets attacked together, forming a black spear that stabbed out. The two collided in the sky. The golden fist was pierced through, which was unbelievable. One had to know how terrifying Lin Xian's punch was, but it was pierced through. One could imagine how terrifying the 40 black puppets were when they worked together. It was no wonder that so many half-sages had fallen. But so what? Lin Xian's punch was just a test. In the sky, the black spear pierced through the golden fist and then stabbed toward Lin Xian. Not good. The Qi clan's ancestor and the others' faces changed. Could it be that even Lin Xian couldn't resist? If that was the case, they were afraid that they would be doomed. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His eyes shone with a cold light. In the face of such a powerful spear, he advanced instead of retreating. His body swayed, turned into a golden stream of light and instantly rushed out. Then he stretched out his big hand. This time, his big hand was covered with golden runes, but it didn't transform into a palm of light. Instead, it grabbed with his bare hand. No way, what is young Master Lin trying to do? Is he trying to fight with his bare hands? The Qi clan's ancestor and the others' faces twitched when they saw this. That was impossible. The 4 half-saints were all stupefied. They knew how terrifying the spear was. Their half-sage artifacts were instantly sent flying. Now, someone was trying to fight with the power of his physical body. How was that possible? Chapter 3206. However, the 4 half-saints were stunned in an instant. In the next moment they were so scared that they almost wet their pants. Lin Xian's hands shone brightly as he grabbed the black spear. The black spear could knock a half-saint weapon away and pierce through a half-saint, but it was caught by Lin Xian's hands. It could not move in the sky. What? He really blocked it? How is this possible? The Luo family's patriarch's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Jin Yuanzi and the others also gasped. They knew that Lin Xian was powerful, but they did not expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. Lin Xian shouted coldly as he exerted strength in his hands. His hands were like real dragons as they shone with unparalleled light. Then he forcefully swung the black spear and broke it into 2 halves. The 40 puppets took 3 steps back and broke through the void. Lin Xian was like a peerless overlord as he roared at the sky. He stood there, preventing the 40 black puppets from moving forward. He's a god of war. The Qi family's patriarch and the others looked up at the young figure in the sky in shock. Could it be that they were really old? Is this the world of young people? However, they had never seen a young man who was so terrifying. Is he really a half-saint? They were doubtful at this moment. Their bodies weren't as strong as his. Ruffian dragon. In the sky, Lin Xian pushed back the 40 black puppets and then roared. The dark red dragon said, "Don't worry, it's ready." It turned out that when Lin Xian was fighting with the 40 puppets, the dark red dragon had already started to set up a formation. He wanted to break the formation with the formation. Rise. The dark red dragon roared as the endless fragments of the law of thunder on its body surged into the formation. Suddenly, a thunder formation rose into the sky, and a huge force covered the sky. With a long roar, the thunder formation burst out with unparalleled light and began to attack the surrounding void. A series of flickering formations appeared in the originally dark and gloomy void. Sure enough, there was a formation. The Qi family's patriarch and the others exclaimed. They had not noticed it before. If it was not for the dark red divine dragon, they would have never found it. This dragon was too terrifying. It was actually an array master. They were too shocked. They didn't expect Lin Xian's companions to be so terrifying. In front of them, the 40 black puppets roared crazily because they wouldn't allow the formation to break. They turned into phantoms of fiend gods and rushed over at high speed. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and with a stomp of his foot, the void within 1,000,000 miles shattered. You want to go there? You have to get past me first. His 9-yang divine body was unleashed to the extreme by him. The next moment he rushed over. A great battle erupted, causing the heavens to collapse and the earth to split. Between heaven and earth, huge cracks flickered for millions of miles. At this moment, the entire falling abyss was boiling. Heavens, who was fighting? A half-saint was fighting against a black puppet. There were other half-saints in the surroundings as well. At this moment, they sensed a shocking force coming from afar, and they were instantly extremely shocked. In the next moment, many people's expressions changed. Not good, retreat quickly. They ran away crazily. That was because a violent force swept across heaven and earth. How terrifying. How many half-saints were attacking again? Damn it, there were a lot of people coming. The other half-saints swallowed their saliva, and some of their eyes lit up. This was great. Such a violent force would definitely attract more black puppets, and the guards in other places would be weaker. They could use this opportunity to attack. At the thought of this, they turned into streams of light and rushed into the distance. In front of them, Lin Xian was fighting the 40 puppets head-on. It was an earth-shattering battle. Are you done? Hooligan. Lin Xian roared. His physique was strong, but at this moment his blood was boiling and his body was trembling. He had no choice. The 40 puppets were so powerful that they were equivalent to a few half-saints attacking together. Lin Xian could resist, but the Luo family's patriarch and the others were scared silly. Hurry up, hold on for a while longer. The dark red divine dragon waved its claws, controlling the formation with all its might. Lin Xian roared, and the great dragon sword spirit in his body roared. Endless precept fragments condensed above his head, forming a precept sword. He held it in his hand. With a slash of the sword, the mountains and rivers shattered, and the void within 1,000,000 miles was completely enveloped by the flaming sword. Buzz. The 40 black puppets condensed again, forming a black blade that slashed in all directions. It collided with the precept sword. The two of them fought until the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Are you done? If not, Lin Xian roared again. If not, he would have to use more trump cards. All right. The dark red divine dragon responded. Suddenly, in the void, countless shattering sounds were heard, and the formation hidden in the void was broken. Good. Lin Xian laughed loudly. 9 suns opened the sky. With a slash of the sword, it could destroy the sun and the moon. This slash directly sent the 40 puppets flying. Among them, 7 or 8 puppets were destroyed by the slash. The remaining 30 puppets were also scattered. They could not gather again. Hurry up and attack. Lin Xian roared and rushed over. Behind him, the Qi family patriarch and the others came back to their senses. They also took a deep breath, suppressed the shock in their hearts and rushed over. The 40 puppets could no longer attack together, and now they were scattered in all directions. Although in groups of 3 to 5 they could still fight against the half-sage, but they were still unable to threaten them. Therefore it did not take long for these puppets to be destroyed. Phew. The Luo family patriarch and the others breathed a sigh of relief, feeling as if they had survived a disaster. Lin Xian took back the precept fragment, and he was incomparably calm. To be honest, even if he did not break the formation with his strength, he could kill them. However, he would have to use some of his trump cards. Lin Xian did not want to do that. Otherwise, the puppets could not do anything to him. Next, everyone went on their way again. During this time, they encountered 2 more groups of puppets and attacked them. However, they used this method to forcefully break the formation. Lin Xian and the others were extremely powerful all the way to the depths of the falling abyss. Aha, will we be the only ones to enter? The Luo family patriarch was a little excited. After all, there were not many teams as strong as them. The Qi family patriarch shook his head. It was not that simple. As far as I know, before we came, there were already some powerful experts who went in. Moreover, even if they were in the same group, some of them were very terrifying. Therefore, we can't be the only ones to enter. After all, this time it was not just 1 or 2 stellar worlds, but many half-sage geniuses from many worlds. It could be said that this was a fierce battle. Were there other geniuses from the stellar silk world? It was a good opportunity to see them. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He had seen some of them before, but now, those geniuses from outside the domain were no longer a threat to him. However, he knew that those who could step on the ancient path of the stars were definitely powerful. There would definitely be half-sage geniuses and powerful experts waiting for him ahead. However, he was fearless. Chapter 3207. Great, we can land now. The Qi family patriarch heaved a sigh of relief. Then everyone descended. Hee, I didn't expect a small fry to come. A cold voice came from the front. There's someone. The Qi family patriarch and the others stopped in their tracks. Their gazes shifted to the front. There was indeed someone. A young man in white walked over with a pair of white wings on his back. It wasn't a pair of wings formed by superpowers but real wings. Obviously he wasn't a human. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The young man in white walked over and said coldly, "Scram, this isn't a place you can come." "What did you say?" The Qi family patriarch and the others' faces darkened. The other party was just a martial artist who had comprehended something close to the Tao. How dare he ask them to scram? They had 6 half-step saints on their side. Sure enough, the Qi family patriarch snorted and a ray of light rushed forward. He could easily kill a martial artist who had comprehended something close to the Tao. Clang. The ray of light arrived in front of the young man in white. Countless runes appeared on the young man in white, forming a light screen. He blocked it. Humph, is a half-step saint that great? You want to kill me? Do you have the ability? The young man in white sneered. A mysterious light flickered on his body. Damn it, who is this guy? He actually has 3 half-step saint artifacts. The dark red dragon beside him was shocked. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. It seems like he's a young master of some family. And this family must be extremely powerful. Seeing that his attack was ineffective, the Qi family patriarch was also stunned. A young man with 3 half-step saint artifacts? That's really surprising. He asked in a deep voice. Who are you? I'm from the White Crane race. The young man in white said proudly. The pair of white wings on his back spread out and emitted a pure white light. What, the White Crane race? You're from the White Crane race? The Qi family patriarch was shocked. The patriarch of the Luo family and the other 2 sucked in a breath of cold air. 10,000 Archean race? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The dark red dragon snorted. Its meat should be delicious. Is the White Crane race that powerful? Lin Xian asked doubtfully. The White Crane race should also be one of the 10,000 ancient races. The 10,000 ancient races were not only present in the true spirit world, but also in the entire universe. That's right, the White Crane clan was extremely powerful. They occupied a planet and named it the White Crane Planet. In that world of stars they reigned supreme. Although there were other races, they all had to submit to their White Crane race. Gold Origin said in a deep voice. It was very obvious that they definitely knew how terrifying the White Crane clan was. When the white-robed young man heard this, he laughed loudly. Looks like you know how powerful my White Crane clan is. Since that's the case, why don't you scram? Occupying a world of stars. Lin Xian was startled. It seemed that the 10,000 ancient races were very strong. Fuck, this guy is too arrogant. I really want to slap him to death, then roast him into meat skewers to eat. The dark red dragon gnashed its teeth. At this moment, the Luo family's ancestor also walked out. He said, So it's the young master of the White Crane clan. How have we offended the young master? Why are you asking us to leave for no reason? The Qi family's ancestor and the others were also very confused. They had come here with great difficulty, but now they were being chased away. How could they be willing to accept this? Offend us? The white-robed young man was stunned, then he sneered. Who do you think you are? Do you have the right to offend my White Crane clan? I'm here to clean up the trash. You don't have to go forward. What? You're here to clean up ants? Hearing this, the Luo family's ancestor and the others' faces turned extremely ugly. It seemed that regardless of whether they had offended the White Crane clan or not, the other party would not let them leave. The other party was planning to clear the place and take the treasures inside for himself. Damn it, your White Crane clan is too arrogant. The Qi family's ancestor gritted his teeth. He had waited for 300 years and he could finally come again. How could he leave just because of a sentence from someone else? Yes, I'm arrogant. What can you do to me? You're the one who attacked me just now, right? Chop off one of his arms. Chop off the arm that attacked me. The Luo family's ancestor and the others were stunned, but Lin Xian's pupils shrank. In the next moment, the Qi family's ancestor's arm flew into the sky, blood splattering everywhere. Then the Qi family's ancestor's scream was heard. Yes, master. A figure appeared beside the Qi family's ancestor, holding a long saber in his hand that flashed with saber light. Damn it, there's someone here. So fast. The Luo family's ancestor, Jin Yuan, and Xiao Wu's pupils shrank. Even Lin Xian was shocked. It seems that there's an expert hiding here. The Qi family's ancestor screamed and quickly sealed his qi in blood. His face was extremely pale and he retreated to the side. 7 stars revolved around his body, forming the 7 stars armor. Then the severed arm grew out again. Sage to be. The Black Bat clan. The Qi family's ancestor's face was extremely ugly. The other party's speed was too fast, and he only reacted when the other party chopped off his arm. If the other party was aiming for his head, would he be able to dodge it? The white-robed youth in front of him shouted coldly. This is a lesson for you. Get lost. Otherwise I'll destroy your bodies and souls. He did not expect that there would be a half-step saint from the Black Bat clan, and he was so fast. However, do you think a half-step saint can stop us? We have 6 half-step saints. The Qi family's ancestor looked up and said coldly. Are 6 half-step saints that powerful? Do it and let them know the consequences of disobeying my orders. Bus. The half-step saint from the Black Bat clan moved, and he instantly disappeared into the void. Oh no! The Qi family's ancestor and the others narrowed their eyes. Bus. The 7 stars armor on the Qi family's ancestor shone brightly. He shouted loudly and the surrounding void quickly shattered. In the next moment, his body was sent flying, and he was hit by tens of thousands of attacks in an instant. Every single one of them crashed into the same place, causing one of his arms to be chopped off once again. Ah! The Qi family's ancestor screamed. At the same time, Jin Yuan's head was sent flying. He was hit by tens of thousands of attacks in an instant. Not only him but the Luo family's ancestor and Xiao Wu were also hit. All 4 of them retreated and they were injured. In the next moment they looked in front of them in horror. Damn it, who the hell are you? The fragment of the law of speed. He has comprehended the law of speed. These people were stunned. It was too fast, so fast that they could not keep up with it even though they were half-step saints. Moreover, the other party had attacked too many times in an instant. Although one attack was not enough to break their defense, it was still too fast. However, with so many attacks landing on the same spot, even they would find it difficult to withstand. Ha ha, now you know how powerful I am. The white-robed youth in front of them laughed loudly. Chapter 3208. Damn it, we have so many half-saints. I don't believe we can't beat him. The Qi family patriarch gritted his teeth. Indeed, they had 6 half-saints in Lin Xian. How could they not beat him? Even if this half-saint from the Black Bat clan had comprehended the law of speed, they still had a way. Was that so? The youth in white sneered and clapped his hands lightly. A roar came from the darkness behind him. Then a few huge creatures walked out. These 2 huge creatures were as big as mountains. Each of them looked ferocious, and the aura they emitted was terrifying. Hellhounds? Lin Xian was shocked. There were 2 half-saint hellhounds. He had seen a hell dog before. Back in the true spirit world in the central continent, he had seen a hell dog corpse. But that one hadn't reached the half-saint level. Now there were 2 of them alive. Sure enough, the Qi family patriarch and the others were shocked when they saw the 2 hellhounds. Hellhounds? They were strange beasts of heaven and earth. They were terrifying. The 3 heads represented 3 different attributes between heaven and earth. Moreover, they were half-saints and there were 2 of them. In terms of teamwork, the half-saints from the Black Bat clan were terrifying. Damn it. The White Crane clan had brought so many experts this time? Moreover, merely a young man from the White Crane clan had brought 3 half-saints with him. Not to mention the other half-saints from the White Crane clan. Thinking of this, the Qi family patriarch and the others felt their scalps go numb. Did they really have the strength to fight against such a person? Forget it. Jin Yuanzi smiled bitterly. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't fight against the White Crane clan. Even if they could fight their way in now, they might still be killed if they encountered a half-saint from the White Crane clan. Therefore, Jin Yuanzi shook his head and didn't plan to fight. Xiao Wu did the same. The Qi family patriarch and the Luo family patriarch exchanged a look and smiled bitterly. Jin Yuanzi and Xiao Wu had already given up. They couldn't beat the other party even if they worked together, so they were ready to give up. Seeing the ugly expressions of the Qi clan's patriarch and the others, the young man in white sneered coldly. They didn't know what was good for them. They should have retreated earlier. Why did they have to wait for me to display my strength? Do you think you can contend against me? Get out of here. The Qi family's ancestor and the others shook their heads and turned around, preparing to retreat. However, in the next moment, they were stunned because they realized that Lin Xian had no intention of leaving. He even walked forward. The dark red divine dragon followed suit. Young Master Lin. The Qi family patriarch and the others were stunned for a moment before they asked. Since they were already here, how could they not go and take a look? Lin Xian said faintly without the slightest fear. Up ahead, the white-robed youth had originally wanted to leave. However, he suddenly realized that someone was walking towards him. You don't know the difference between life and death, do you want to die? However, he soon discovered that it was not the Qi family's patriarch, but a young man. From the looks of it, this person was even younger than him. Who was this? Were they the juniors of those half-saints? He was so reckless. Brat, your elders have already scrammed back and you still dare to advance? If that's the case, go to hell. Elder He, cut off his legs and bring him to me. I want to torture him to death. The white-robed youth was furious. Since someone dared to provoke him, he naturally wanted to make him suffer. But, hearing this, the half-saints of the Black Bat clan disappeared instantly. In the next moment, a sharp blade light slashed towards Lin Xian's legs. Clang. An earth-shattering sound was heard as the blade landed on Lin Xian's legs, emitting countless streaks of lightning. However, it did not shatter. Half-step Saint Heibat was stunned. Then he used the Law of Speed fragment and instantly, tens of thousands of attacks were formed in an instant. It looked like a single blade, but it contained tens of thousands of forces. Scram! Lin Xian shouted coldly and kicked out. This time he was like a real dragon, bringing with him a powerful force that collided with the tens of thousands of attacks. Boom! The entire world turned blurry and shattered. Half-step Saint Heibat was sent flying. His arm was numb and he looked shocked. You're not a junior? You're a half-saint. The white-robed youth in front of him was also stunned. In his opinion, Lin Xian should only be a junior of the Qi clan's patriarch. However, it seemed that this was not the case. Lin Xian was a half-saint and a very powerful one at that. Otherwise, how could he have forced half-step Saint Heibat to retreat? Black Bat, kill him. Don't hold back. The white-robed youth, who was riding on a three-headed hellhound, said coldly. Yes. Half-step Saint Heibat nodded. His body shone with an unparalleled light. Streaks of black runes covered his entire body. The black long blade in his hand shone with black runes. The Law of Speed fragment circled between heaven and earth. He disappeared instantly. In an instant he appeared around Lin Xian. He waved his long blade and attacked with tens of thousands of attacks. Boom, boom, boom. All of the attacks landed on Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian's speed was not slow either. Hence, the attacks could not hit the same spot. Clanging sounds were heard when the attacks hit. Lin Xian used his physical strength to resist them. All of this happened in an instant. Half-step Saint Heibat retreated in shock. Damn it, what kind of physique was this? He was too shocked. Previously, he had used tens of thousands of attacks to injure the Qi family patriarch. Now he could not even hurt the young man in front of him. What a strong physique. This was a body-refining half-saint. Half-step Saint Heibat roared. Millions of attacks. This time his speed was even faster. He was so fast that even the Qi family patriarch and the others could not catch him. The Qi family patriarch and the others felt their scalps go numb. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a piercing light. Had his speed increased by 10 times. He roared and pushed his divine body to the extreme. The law of fire on his body spewed out and burned fiercely, completely enveloping him. But this time Lin Xian did not take the attack head-on. Instead he attacked. The two law of fire swung in the air. It's useless. You can't keep up with my speed. Half-step Saint Heibat's cold voice rang out. In an instant he passed through the flames and came in front of Lin Xian. The long saber in his hand slashed down wildly. There were millions of saber lights in the saber. That was a million attacks. Lin Xian was furious. Golden light bloomed from his body, making him look like an indestructible god of war. He waved his fist and attacked like the sun. It's useless. You can't keep up with my speed. Half-step Saint Heibat sneered again. Sure enough, he was very fast. Lin Xian's fist had only reached halfway when half-step Saint Heibat's saber slashed down with millions of saber lights. You're dead meat now, aren't you? Half-step Saint Heibat's lips curled into a cold smile. The Qi family patriarch and the others felt their scalps go numb. It's over. Young Master Lin is in danger. Yes, the law of speed was too difficult to break. Among all the martial arts in the world, only speed was unbreakable. It was impossible to resist. Chapter 3209. At this critical moment, a black pattern appeared on Lin Xian's body. It looked like a Taoist pattern. When the millions of attacks hit the black light, they seemed to have stepped into a quagmire and disappeared without a trace. What's going on? Half-Saint Black Bat was stunned. His attack had actually failed. He hadn't hit his opponent? How is that possible? What is that black light? Boom. While he was in a daze, a fist as bright as the sun hit him and sent him flying. Half of his body turned into a bloody mist. This scene happened extremely quickly. In merely an instant it had happened. Thus, by the time the crowd reacted, they saw Half-Sage Black Bat vomiting blood and being sent flying. He's injured. Black Bat King is injured. The young man in white was stunned. The Qi family patriarch and the others screamed. This was too unbelievable. They were worried about Lin Xian before, but in the blink of an eye, Lin Xian had gained the upper hand again. Ruffian dragon, I'll leave it to you. Lin Xian withdrew his fist and turned to stare at the young man in white in front of him. Don't worry. Leave it to me. I'll turn him into a dead bat. The dark red dragon chuckled and flew over. Black Bat rushed out and roared at the sky with a murderous aura. Thousands of afterimages appeared in the sky. He was so fast that no one could tell which one was real. Countless pairs of cold eyes stared down. Damn you, snake. How dare you stop me? Get lost. Thousands of afterimages shot toward the dark red dragon. The dark red dragon snorted disdainfully, and a dragon's roar echoed in the sky. All of a sudden, the afterimages in the sky began to tremble and shatter. Dragon's roar. Damn it. You're a dragon. Black Bat's expression was extremely ugly. The young man in white also had a cold expression. He did not expect Black Bat to be a dragon. Damn brat. Who are you? He asked. Lin Xian gritted his teeth as he stared at Black Bat. Lin Xian did not answer. He stood with his hands behind his back and said coldly, anyone who stands in my way will die. Do you really think you can get past me just because you've got Black Bat pinned down? How naive. Go kill him. The young man said to a Cerberus beside him. Brr. The Cerberus charged forward, its three heads roaring at the same time. Its murderous aura shook the 9 heavens and tore the void apart. Behind him, the Qi family's ancestor and the others trembled as fear filled their eyes. The Qi and blood in their bodies churned. Heavens, this Cerberus of hell is really too terrifying. Lin Xian was fearless. He charged forward like a god of war. In the blink of an eye, it clashed with the Cerberus. The two of them clashed. Every strike was like a clap of thunder, emitting dazzling light that illuminated the entire sky. He was actually able to fight to a draw with the infernal realm. The Qi family patriarch and the others were shocked. The Hellhound was a legendary magical beast. It was said that it suppressed the underworld and was incomparably terrifying. But now he couldn't do anything to Lin Xian. The next moment they screamed even louder. The reason for that was because Lin Xian had unleashed tens of thousands of sword auras and beheaded both of the Hellhound's heads. Brr. The Cerberus roared crazily at the sky, and its broken heads reassembled. It charged over again. However, Lin Xian grabbed the two reassembled heads with both hands and tore the Cerberus' huge body in half. Along with it was an incomparably large pitch-black crack that extended across the sky. It was a ghastly sight. Damn it, go and help. When the young man in white saw this scene, he immediately shouted in a low voice. The other Cerberus under his feet also charged over. The three heads opened their mouths and spat out lightning, fire and ice. The terrifying energy shook the void, causing the entire world to distort. Lin Xian let out a long roar. Brilliant light shone from him as he pushed his divine body to its limits. At that moment he seemed to have transformed into a human-shaped Tyrannosaurus Rex as he shuttled through the energy in the sky. The two Dharma fragments in his hands formed two Dharma swords. As he waved them they destroyed everything. Boom. The 13th sword cut the Cerberus in half again. The other Cerberus' three heads were sent flying. Brr. Black Qi surged from the two Cerberus bodies as they roared crazily. Their bodies reassembled again. With a roar, the black thunder in the sky pierced through the sky, shattered the void and directly enveloped Lin Xian. At the same time, ice covered the entire space. A layer of ice appeared on the Qi family patriarch's body. They could only use their Dharma fragments to resist and keep retreating. It was too powerful. Was this Lin Wuti? The Luo family patriarch and the others were completely stunned. He had fought against two semi-sage level hellhounds by himself. Moreover, he had managed to suppress them. This was simply too shocking. One should know that they were no match for the Cerberus in a one-on-one fight. Unless the four of them attacked together, they might not be able to fight against the two Cerberus. But now Lin Xian had done it alone. On the other side, Half-Saint Black Bat was even more shocked. How could his opponent be so terrifying? And what made him despair was that the dragon in front of him was equally terrifying. His opponent had 2 Dharma fragments. Even if he had the Dharma of speed, he could not do anything to his opponent. His life was even in danger. Lin Xian threw out a punch and it shone like the sun. At the same time, a dragon's roar rang out from his body, resounding through the 9 heavens. At this moment, everyone's expression changed. Buzz. The 2 infernal hounds trembled as well. 3 heads appeared, filled with fear. They did not expect that Lin Xian could let out a dragon's roar to intimidate them. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the great dragon sword soul exploded with power, covering the 2 Dharma swords. Lin Xian slashed forward. The 2 sword chi split the Cerberus bodies. The great dragon sword soul that he had learned made it impossible for the 2 Cerberus to heal completely. There was a large crack in their bodies from the beginning to the end. The 2 Cerberus roared crazily, looking ferocious. But they could not erase the aura of the great dragon sword soul. Lin Xian turned his head and stared at the youth in white in front of him. The youth in white trembled, and he almost knelt on the ground in fear. Although he was arrogant and had 3 half-saints by his side, his true strength was only that of a martial artist who was close to the Tao. How could he be a match for Lin Xian? So in Lin Xian's eyes, the youth in white was about to explode. In the next moment, he snorted, and the belt on his waist bloomed with unparalleled light. The dense runes on it rushed out and shrouded his body. Only then did he block the half-saint's power. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The other party had several half-saint artifacts on him. He was too rich. Was the White Crane clan that terrifying? But Lin Xian was not afraid. He said coldly, "I've said it before. Those who block me will die." Chapter 32:10. Damn it, you dare to kill me? The young man in white screamed like a madman. He was from the White Crane clan. The White Crane clan was so powerful. Who would dare to attack him? Just him, such a young prodigy, had 3 half-saints protecting him. Just how many experts of the White Crane clan were there? As expected, the Luo clan's patriarch, Qi clan's patriarch, and the others also exclaimed, "Young master, you can't do that." They wouldn't stop Lin Xian from attacking the White Crane clan. However, if he killed this young man, things would get out of hand. He would completely offend the White Crane clan. With the White Crane clan's strength, if they attacked, they probably wouldn't be able to leave alive. Lin Xian turned his head and glanced at the Luo clan's patriarch and the others. "I've made up my mind." Lin Xian raised his hand and slashed. A terrifying sword light slashed forward. "No." The young man in white screamed like a madman. He opened his mouth and spat out a blue light. It turned into stars one after another and enveloped him like a river of stars. It blocked the shocking sword chi. Boom. The 2 supernatural powers collided in the air and exploded with an unparalleled light. The world was pierced by this light. The river of stars in the sky shattered. The young man in white was sent flying and vomited blood. His body was about to split open. However, it reassembled in an instant. "He's fine?" Lin Xian was astonished. Someone who was close to the Great Path was actually able to take a sword from him. No one would believe it if he told others. 2 more half-saint artifacts. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The pendant on the young man's neck, the belt on his waist, and the river of stars above his head. The 3 layers of defense protected the young man. However, the river of stars shattered and the light of the pendant and belt dimmed. "Damn it, I want you to die." The young man in white screamed like a madman. He raised his hand and shot out a red light. It quickly flew towards Lin Xian. "Young Master Lin, we just need to subdue him. There's no need to take his life." The Qi clan's patriarch quickly advised. "The White Crane clan is very powerful. Young Master, please don't be impulsive." While speaking, Lin Xian had already slashed apart the red light with his sword. He could see that it was a red box with an ancient design. It carried a mysterious aura. But what was it? Lin Xian didn't know. He didn't care, so he slashed out with his sword. Suddenly, the blood-red box was split open, and globs of dark black blood appeared from within, directly enveloping him. "Not good, kid, that's the saint's blood poison. Get out of my way." The dark red dragon roared. The moment the dark red box broke and blood flowed out, he sensed it and immediately warned the others. However, he was still a step too late. Behind them, the Qi family ancestor and the others felt their scalps go numb when they heard this. Saint blood poison. Heavens, how could he have such a thing? Oh no, young Master Lin is in danger. I told you long ago not to offend the White Crane clan. Ah, brat, let's see how you'll die. This is the blood poison of a saint. It was refined from a saint's body. If a half-saint came into contact with it, he would definitely die. Moreover, both his body and soul had been destroyed. This is your fate if you dare to offend me. Lin Xian also heard the dark red dragon's warning, but it was already too late. The saint blood poison had already wrapped around him. In an instant, Lin Xian's body trembled slightly. The light of the 9-yang divine body dimmed. Oh no, what a terrifying poison. What a terrifying blood. Lin Xian felt an extremely powerful saint aura. It was obvious that this was related to the saints. Moreover, from the looks of it, it should be the blood poison formed from the saint's blood after being refined. Indeed, the other party was right. Once this blood poison was released, a half-saint would not be able to resist at all. It could even kill a half-saint in groups. Danger, and it was extremely dangerous. Lin Xian did not dare to hold back. He roared angrily and used the great dragon sword soul to the extreme. Together with the nomological fragments of annihilation, he quickly attacked. His body was enveloped, and in an instant he shot out countless sword chi to resist the blood poison. Alright, this brat is dead. Next, only this dragon is left. Catch him, I haven't eaten dragon meat yet. The young man in white laughed. The two hellhounds and half-saint black bats stared at the dark red divine dragon. Damn it. The dark red divine dragon spat out rain and monstrous thunder that filled the sky, attacked in all directions. At the same time, he looked anxiously at Lin Xian. He did not know if the brat could resist the saint blood poison. Boom. A large crack was torn open in the saint blood poison. Then a figure walked out. Lin Xian's clothes were torn, and countless cracks appeared on his 9-yang divine body. Blood dyed his body red, and he looked abnormally ferocious. It was as if he had crawled out of hell. His eyes shone with a golden light, and his body was filled with murderous intent. What other tricks do you have? What? Nothing. Impossible. How could you escape from the saint blood poison? The young man in white was stunned. His face was filled with fear, and his body was trembling. He was so scared that he almost wet himself. How was this possible? Once the saint blood poison was released, it would not be a problem to kill 6 half-saints in front of him, let alone one person. Even if that brat had 100 lives, it would not be enough. However, the current situation was that Lin Xian was not dead at all. His body was only broken and slightly injured. Stop him. The young man in white commanded the two hellhounds. At the same time, he quickly retreated and flew into the depths of the abyss. He had no choice. His opponent was too terrifying. He had to leave this place quickly. Scram. The two hellhounds rushed over. Lin Xian roared like a god of war, and the cracks on his body quickly healed. Rays of golden aura shot into the sky. 2 fists punched out, blasting the two hellhounds into pieces. At the same time, he turned into a ray of light and flew forward. It's over. Something big has happened. This time he will not rest until he dies. The Qi family's patriarch's face was extremely pale. He knew that with Lin Xian's personality, he would not spare the young man in white. And behind the white-clothed young man stood the White Crane clan. What should we do? Jin Yuanzi asked anxiously. The Qi family's patriarch took a deep breath. Let's go and see if we can persuade young Master Lin. The Luo family's patriarch snorted coldly. A hint of coldness appeared in his eyes, but he did not say anything. The group of people quickly flew forward. At the same time, the dark red divine dragon swung its tail because its opponent, half-saint black bat, had already turned into a ray of light and was chasing after it at extreme speed. Deep in the abyss, there was a gray aura everywhere, and there were shadows of Yin ghosts circling the area. It was hair-raising. The entire land was grayish-white in color and carried an extremely terrifying aura. In front of them there were gray mountains of different heights. They were densely packed together, forming a mountain range. Some people gathered on the mountain range. Chapter 32:11. Some figures were sitting cross-legged on the most majestic gray-white mountain peak. They were so powerful that the surrounding people did not dare to look at them. The atmosphere in the entire mountain range was very quiet. It was as if everyone was cultivating and waiting for something. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly rushed in and broke the tranquil atmosphere. "Ancestors, save me." A terrified voice was heard, spreading throughout the mountain range. In an instant, the mysterious figures on the mountain peaks opened their eyes. Countless rays of light looked down. Isn't this a member of the White Crane clan? Why is he so terrified? Could it be that someone is fighting their way in? Just as they were puzzled, a figure instantly appeared in the middle of the three clans. Could he run away if he wanted to? Then a ray of sword chi flew over like a rainbow. It brought with it an unparalleled radiance, illuminating the gray-white sky. Damn it, how dare you! At this critical moment, a long black saber flew through the air and slashed at Lin Xian, trying to kill him. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Without turning his head, he slashed his sword at Half-Saint Black Bat. This sword was a sword of laws. It directly split Half-Saint Black Bat in half. At the same time, the sword light of laws in front of him also pierced through the defense of the Half-Saint weapon. It pierced through the body of the white rogue youth and nailed him to the ground. The white rogue youth was nailed to the ground. He screamed crazily. His body was trembling, but he could not break free at all. On the mountain peaks in the distance, the experts gasped. Who is this? Who dares to attack a member of the White Crane clan? In an instant, countless voices looked toward the most majestic mountain peak. On that mountain peak, there were many powerful figures sitting cross-legged. They all had a pair of white crane wings on their backs. They were the experts of the White Crane clan. From the moment the white rogue youth entered to the moment he was nailed to the ground, it happened in an instant. Therefore they did not have time to react. Moreover, they had never thought that someone would dare to attack a member of the White Crane clan. Moreover, it was in front of them. Stop. A cold shout reverberated in all directions. Immediately, the space within 1,000,000 miles was shattered. One could imagine how terrifying this person was. However, Lin Xian acted as if he didn't hear anything. With a shake of his hand, the sword light in front of him exploded once again, shattering the white-clothed youth's body into pieces. Even his soul was destroyed in an instant. The pupils of the experts and half-step saints on the surrounding mountain peaks shrank. They couldn't believe that the other party had really attacked. He had killed the people of the White Crane clan. Moreover, he had destroyed their bodies and souls. This guy is dead for sure. This was what all of them were thinking. Courting death. The people of the White Crane clan roared as if they had gone mad. Endless killing intent soared into the sky. Boom. Heaven and earth trembled as a massive palm descended from the sky, bringing with it countless law fragments as it exploded with shocking energy. In an instant it enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian's figure flickered and retreated far away, dodging the attack. However, the giant palm of law followed him like a shadow, once again enveloping Lin Xian. From the looks of it, the other party would not give up until they killed Lin Xian. Lin Xian moved his hand and immediately the black magic staff fragments gathered. The power of annihilation quickly condensed into a sword of law, which he slashed out. The two collided in the sky. The collision of the sword of law and the giant palm of law brought about endless light. The power of annihilation destroyed everything. It caused the palm to rapidly shrink until it was about to disappear. However, the giant palm of law was also extremely terrifying. It had endless power as if it was the law of earth. In the end, the powerful force also shattered the sword chi of the sword of law. The two dissipated into the void at the same time. Lin Xian waved his hand, and an endless aura shattered all the energy. Then he raised his head and looked forward. The half-step saints on the surrounding mountain peaks discussed animatedly. He blocked it. The other party actually blocked it. Who was this person? Could it be that he was an old monster? On the huge mountain peak, the people of the White Crane clan also frowned. Several of their gazes were fixed on Lin Xian, wanting to penetrate him. However, Lin Xian was not afraid. The sword chi on his body tumbled and destroyed everything, blocking their gazes. Young Master Lin, don't attack. At this moment, a few exclamations were heard from behind. Then the Qi clan's patriarch and the others barged in. They wanted to persuade Lin Xian. However, when they arrived at the scene, they were stunned. This was because they realized that Lin Xian seemed to have already attacked. Moreover, there were too many people here. It was not just the White Crane clan. On the surrounding mountain peaks, there were many figures of powerhouses. It was the Ting clan's patriarch, the Tiger Dragon clan, the Silver Armor clan, the Golden Rock clan. One by one, powerful clans appeared in front of the Qi clan's patriarch and the others. The Qi clan's patriarch and the others were extremely pale. Beside them, Jin Yuanzi, the Luo clan's patriarch and the others also looked extremely solemn. They were facing a great enemy. This was because the powerhouses of the clans in front were too famous. They dominated the nearby Star Realm. One of them could defeat a whole group of people. For example, the Qi clan's patriarch was not strong enough. A few more people came. These people also looked at the Qi clan's patriarch and the others. Instantly, the Qi clan's patriarch and the others felt as if they had been pierced through by thousands of swords. They felt uncomfortable and their souls were about to tremble. After all, the people in front of them were all top powerhouses. However, they were most curious about Lin Xian. Who is he? How dare he go against the White Crane clan? Brat, how dare you kill the people of the White Crane clan? Kneel down and accept your death. In front of them, on the majestic mountain peak, a figure stood out. It was also a young man. He shouted sternly. Lin Xian looked up and said coldly, "Who do you think you are? You're not even a half-saint. How dare you show off in front of me?" Two golden swords burst out from his eyes and slashed forward with a monstrous flame aura. In an instant they arrived near the young man. Damn it! The young man was scared out of his wits. Although he was arrogant, he was only a genius who had comprehended something. How could he withstand the attack of a half-saint? Fortunately, he had countless powerhouses of the White Crane clan by his side. But a middle-aged man attacked fiercely and caught the two swords in an instant. A disdainful smile appeared on his face. A mere half-saint dares to behave atrociously in front of the White Crane clan? Today you're dead. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, the two golden swords split open. Endless flames of the laws shrouded the area. Ah! A scream was heard. The young man who had shouted coldly was burned to ashes. Even his soul did not escape. Do you think my swords are so easy to catch? Lin Xian stood proudly with his hands behind his back. Chapter 32:12. In the next moment, the flames disappeared. The faces of the White Crane tribe's elites were terrifyingly dark. Their killing intent surged and millions of miles of the void were completely covered. At this moment, the Qi family's patriarch and the others trembled. The elites on the surrounding mountains also changed their expressions. Another young elite had died. And this time he was killed in front of the elites of the White Crane tribe. This was too overbearing. This was a public slap to the White Crane tribe. The middle-aged man who had attacked previously was also furious. The white wings on his back spread out, and he turned into thousands of streams of light, instantly arriving in front of Lin Xian. A fist, carrying endless rays of light, rushed straight up. Boom. The blue fragments of the staff danced in the air, as if thousands of waves were roaring. In an instant, the surroundings were completely surrounded by the sea, completely enveloping Lin Xian. The law of water. Kid, aren't you the law of fire? Watch how I'll drown you. The White Crane tribe's half-saint revealed a ferocious expression. He wanted to tear Lin Xian into pieces. But golden runes spun rapidly in Lin Xian's eyes, and a fiery red light surged out. In an instant he charged forward. The 9 heavens and 10 lands were devoured. Monstrous flames burned silently, and the seawater in the sky surged. This was an earth-shattering battle. Even the elites and half-saints around were tense. Because these two forces were simply too powerful. These half-saints and the young elites around them were trembling. If it weren't for their patriarchs, just the aftermath of this energy would have been enough to kill them. This scene was simply too terrifying. Water and fire intersected, and the void was constantly shattered. The terrifying force drowned the area. The surrounding mountain peaks were also collapsing. Boom. Finally, a surge of energy shot up into the sky, tearing apart countless gray auras. The entire abyss seemed to be illuminated. Water spreading to the 9 heavens. Die for me. In the violent energy, the voice of the White Crane tribe's elite could be heard. But on the other side, Lin Xian snorted coldly. Streaks of terrifying sword chi surged out, turning into fire dragons that bared their fangs and brandished their claws. The two of them exchanged more than a dozen moves, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to rend. Boom. It was another shocking strike. The void was completely torn apart and the two figures retreated. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back, looking like an immortal. On the other side, the powerhouse of the White Crane clan was so angry that his entire body was trembling. Damn it, he was actually helpless against the other party? On his arm there was a sword mark. The aura it carried was something he could not erase in a short period of time. Damn it, who the hell are you? I am Lin Wuti. The White Crane clan doesn't know what's good for them. Blocking my path, they deserve death. A cold voice resounded through the 9 heavens. The surrounding people felt their scalps go numb when they heard that. Too arrogant. He actually dared to say such words to the White Crane clan. He was truly arrogant to the extreme. The other half-saints all turned pale. The experts of the White Crane clan also frowned. Lin Wuti? What an arrogant name. I think I've heard of him before. Is he the young genius who killed Patriarch Xuepao? It's actually him. Wasn't he already killed by Patriarch Xuepao's curse and perished together with him? How is he still alive? This was a true young genius. His strength was so strong that it made people tremble. A few exclamations were heard. Clearly, they had also heard of the scene that happened on the blood refinement planet previously. A young genius? Many people's eyes widened. The young martial artists beside the half-saints were also shocked. The other party was actually the same as them. They were all of the younger generation. However, the other party had already left them in the dust and became a half-saint powerhouse. This made them unable to believe it. After the White Crane clan heard that, their faces also darkened. Who was I then? So I was just a young man. What Lin Wuti? He only killed a half-saint and he thinks he's invincible? He really doesn't know what's good for him. How would an ant like you know how vast the world is and how many powerhouses there are? My White Crane clan is not something you can provoke. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you to the end, Lin Xian said proudly. He was still not afraid. White Crane clan. So what? Back then, when he wasn't a half-saint, he had already fought against the 10,000 ancient races. He had even killed people from the Thousand Dragons Court and Fire Qilin Cave, let alone the White Crane clan. His path was to press forward with indomitable will. Anyone who dared to block his path would be killed. The faces of the White Crane clan darkened. In front of them, the middle-aged half-saint was also trembling. It was obvious that he was going to attack again. At the same time, another old figure walked over from the mountain peak. Another half-saint. Everyone's pupils constricted. Was the White Crane clan going to kill him? No matter how strong the other party was, he wouldn't be able to withstand two half-saints attacking together. Lin Xian snorted coldly. So what if there were two half-saints? It wasn't like he hadn't killed them before. The dragon soul in his body circulated, and the sword qi on his body was about to erupt. However, at this moment, a loud voice came from afar. It turned into thunder and rolled over. Young Master Yen was here. The moment this was said, everyone's expression changed and they all stood up. The half-saints of the White Crane clan were also stunned. Their expressions were strange, and in the next moment, they retracted their murderous aura. Kid, you're very lucky. We'll let you live for a while longer. Let's go welcome young Master Yen. The half-saints didn't attack again. Instead, they all soared into the sky and welcomed him. It seemed that they were waiting for someone important. Lin Xian frowned. Could it be that a saint-level being had arrived? To be able to move the half-saints so much? Why do I feel a familiar aura? The dark red dragon's eyes flickered. Lin Xian looked at the Qi clan's ancestor and the others. The Qi clan's ancestor smiled bitterly. I've just recovered my strength, so I don't know what's going on outside. However, at this moment, the half-saint said, I've heard a little about this young Master Yen. He's extremely powerful. He's the same as you, young master. However, it's said that he's the successor of a great emperor. He's extremely powerful. Even among the half-saints, he's extremely terrifying. Moreover, he's the one who has the highest chance of entering the saint realm. Moreover, this young Master Yen is walking the path of the great emperor. It's very likely that he'll become a great emperor in the future. Therefore, many large clans and sects have placed their hopes on him, trying their best to curry favor with him. Young Master Yen is the successor of the great emperor. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He seemed to have thought of someone, and it was a familiar person. The dark red dragon also whispered, it's probably that kid. The successor of the great emperor. His influence is too terrifying. It's definitely enough to move the half-saints. Aren't you going to welcome him? At this moment, the Luo clan's ancestor spoke. The Qi clan's ancestor was stunned. The Luo clan's ancestor said, I'll be leaving first. He soared into the sky and walked forward. Chapter 32:13. Lin Xian nodded slightly. Don't worry, you guys can go ahead. After hearing Lin Xian's words, the Qi family's patriarch, Jin Yuanzi, and Xiao Wu stood up. In an instant, everyone went forward to welcome the newcomer. Only Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon stood there in a daze. Welcome that person. What a joke. The dark red divine dragon wouldn't, and neither would Lin Xian. In front of them endless light shone, and the gray world was lit up again. Under the respectful and expectant gazes of countless people, a young figure flew over. His body shone brightly, and he had a handsome face and a majestic aura, like a heavenly emperor. Under his feet, there were 4 shadows of the azure dragon, the white tiger, the vermilion bird, and the black tortoise. They formed a path of light, carrying him as he flew over. 4 divine beasts accompanying him. Heavens, this young Master Yen is really impressive. He's definitely a future great emperor. Exclamations rang out one after another. The young martial artists looked at each other with envy. Some of the female geniuses even wanted to jump into his arms. Welcome, young Master Yen. The half-saints cupped their fists. An old man from the White Crane race walked over with a chuckle. Young Master Yen had arrived. Brother White Crane, you don't have to be so polite. Young Master Yen smiled. He looked at the old man and ignored the others. Young Master Yen, please. The White Crane family's patriarch smiled. Instantly, wherever he pointed, everyone retreated. The half-saints didn't dare to block his path. Yen Nantian took a step forward, and the shadows of the 4 divine beasts circled around his feet, carrying him as he walked forward quickly. The White Crane family's patriarch followed beside him, followed by the elites of the White Crane family, and then the half-saints from the other families and sections. Everyone followed behind him. It was a spectacular scene, as if they were welcoming a heavenly emperor. What a grand scene. A cold snort was heard from below. The dark red divine dragon gritted his teeth. This guy is too pretentious and I really want to beat him up. His cold snort was very ear-piercing among the many compliments. In an instant, the half-saints were stunned. Heavens, who is this? How dare he provoke young Master Yen at this time? They looked down. When they saw Lin Xian, the dark red divine dragon, they were stunned. This kid again? Earlier on, this kid was already acting recklessly by provoking the White Crane tribe. Was he trying to provoke young Master Yen now? This was the successor of a great emperor. Didn't you see that even the White Crane clan had to treat them with care? The White Crane clan naturally saw this as well. Immediately they began to laugh coldly. This reckless kid dared to offend young Master Yen? Very well, let's see how he dies. Up ahead, young Master Yen stopped and frowned as he looked down. The next moment he was surprised. Originally he thought that it was some reckless person who dared to provoke him. However, when he saw the other party he was stunned. It's you? He revealed a hint of surprise. The people of the White Crane clan were stunned. The other half-saints in the surroundings were also stunned. Heavens, could it be that young Master Yen knew him? This was especially true for the people of the White Crane clan. Their hearts were beating wildly. That brat below couldn't be young Master Yan's friend, right? If that was the case, things would be difficult to handle. They had wanted to kill him before. They didn't expect to see him here. Lin Xian also felt a little strange because he knew the person who was being welcomed by the crowd. It was Yen Nantian. At that time, he knew that Yen Nantian had already left the House of Outstanding Scholars in advance. He didn't expect him to appear here. Could it be that there was something in the fallen abyss? Even the other party was attracted here? This made Lin Xian even more curious. They really knew each other. The surrounding half-saints exclaimed. No wonder this brat was so arrogant. It turned out that he knew Yen Nantian. Could it be that the two of them were friends? The eyelids of the people of the White Crane clan twitched wildly. Old Ancestor White Crane also asked carefully. Young Master Yen, is this your friend? He couldn't be considered a friend. Yen Nantian shook his head slightly with a trace of cold light in his eyes. The White Crane clan's old ancestor was extremely experienced. In an instant he caught sight of the light. Immediately he was shocked. It seemed that young Master Yen didn't like the brat below. Perhaps the two of them were sworn enemies. Thinking of this, he heaved a sigh of relief. Yen Nantian looked down with a cold light in his eyes. Did you also come here to enter the abyss? However, I advise you to go back. You can't possibly catch up to me. Yen Nantian's voice was loud and clear. Below his feet, the phantoms of the 4 divine beasts danced. Back in the true spirit world, he and Lin Xian had been named as one of the 5 great geniuses. He was the South Emperor while his opponent was the Central Emperor. However, he had kept a very low profile back then. Although he was very famous, he hadn't really fought in public many times. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was different. Lin Xian rose to power and slaughtered his way through the world. Especially during the Dark Age, he single-handedly turned the tide and saved the entire human race. It could be said that after the Dark Age turmoil, Lin Xian's reputation had completely overshadowed the other 4 great geniuses. In fact, not even Leaf Dao Denier could compare to him. And Yen Nantian was even more inferior. At that time, people often compared Lin Xian and thought that he was the one most likely to become a great emperor. How could Yen Nantian accept this? He was the successor of a great emperor. But fortunately, everything changed when he stepped onto the ancient starry sky path. With the great emperor's inheritance, he had obtained countless mysterious methods. His strength had advanced by leaps and bounds, and he had finally reached the half-step sage realm among the younger generation. Moreover, he had comprehended many laws. Now he had comprehended 4 law fragments. It could be said that he had surpassed everything. He was confident that he could shake off the other geniuses and become a great emperor. Now that he saw Lin Xian, he naturally wouldn't be polite. Follow in your footsteps? Who do you think you are to need me to follow you? Lin Xian stood proudly. Yan Nantian? It wasn't like he hadn't fought before. Although the other party had a great emperor's inheritance, so what? Everyone felt their scalps go numb when they heard this. Heavens, this brat is provoking Yan Nantian again? It was really hard to believe. The White Crane clan was stunned for a moment before they were overjoyed. Someone came out and coldly shouted, "Shut up! Lin Wuti, are you courting death? How dare you provoke young Master Yan? What did you call him?" Yan Nantian frowned. Lin Wuti? This name made him very unhappy. Reporting to young Master Yan, this person calls himself Lin Wuti. We originally thought that he was young Master's friend, but we didn't expect him to be so reckless. Young Master, do you need us to take action? The White Crane clan members quickly asked. Calling himself Lin Wuti? Yan Nantian was stunned for a moment before he sneered. Lin Xian, aren't you too arrogant? There are so many powerhouses on the ancient starry sky path. Even I don't dare to call myself invincible, and you dare to call yourself Lin Wuti? Chapter 32:14. Without an invincible heart, how could one walk the path of the future? How reckless! Yan Nantian shook his head slightly and ignored him. He retracted his gaze from Lin Xian. In his opinion, Lin Xian was too arrogant. Invincible. Only after becoming a great emperor would he dare to say that. Before that, who would dare to call themselves invincible? If he did not dare, the half-sages would not dare either. The sages would not dare either. Even the princes and princesses would not dare to do so. How could he call himself invincible? What? Such an arrogant person would die on the ancient path of the stars sooner or later. Therefore, Yan Nantian did not need to pay attention to him. Kid, you really don't know what's good for you. How dare you offend young Master Yan? Young Master Yan is the successor of a great emperor. Until now, he has comprehended 4 types of laws. Can you compare? That's right. How dare you call yourself invincible? Who do you think you are? The elites of the White Crane tribe sneered and followed Yan Nantian into the distance. As soon as he said that, the Qi family patriarch and the others felt their scalps go numb. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. 4 types of laws? What a surprise. Indeed, to this extent, Yan Nantian had indeed surpassed him. But so what? Yan Nantian was only a half-sage now. He had comprehended 4 types of laws at most. Although he had 2 more than him, Lin Xian was confident that even if they fought, he would not fear Yan Nantian. In fact, he could even suppress Yan Nantian. After all, although he only had 2 types of laws, he had the great dragon sword soul. The power of these 2 types of laws was terrifying. He was confident that he could fight a sage. Where were they going? The dark red divine dragon was also very surprised. These people seem to have some purpose. Come, let's follow and see. With a wave of his hand, Lin Xian and the crimson dragon stepped into the air and headed forward. Behind them, the Qi family patriarch and the others thought for a while, then gritted their teeth and followed. Yan Nantian walked forward, surrounded by a group of people. Soon he stopped in the void and looked down. Below, there was an endless abyss that seemed to connect to hell. The half-sages felt their scalps go numb. Yan Nantian's eyes flashed. Calculating the time, it should be about to open. As soon as he said this, the other half-saints became excited. Have you all gathered the invitation letters to the abyss? Although it's not much, it's enough for me to go in this time. This time I can bring a few disciples with me to give it a try. Those half-saints began to talk in low voices. Lin Xian was puzzled. An invitation to the abyss? What invitation? Could it be that someone wanted to send out an invitation? As soon as he said this, the people in front of him were all stunned. They turned their heads to look at Lin Xian with a stunned expression. You don't know about the invitation? What an idiot. The people from the White Crane clan sneered. You don't even have an invitation and you dare to come here? Hurry up and go back. Hearing this, Lin Xian frowned. Truly the White Crane clan that did not know the meaning of death. At that moment, a young man from the White Crane clan waved his arm. In his hand was a gray-white invitation card. The front was a ghost face while the back was a bottomless abyss. Do you see that? This is an invitation letter. You don't even have one and you want to enter the abyss? What a joke. A sword light flashed and split the young man apart. In the next moment, a flaming hand enveloped the invitation letter and delivered it to Lin Xian. Now he had one. Lin Xian killed the young man with a sword and then clamped the gray-white invitation letter. He narrowed his eyes. Was this an invitation to the abyss? With this he could enter the abyss. Damn brat, you're courting death. The people from the White Crane clan had gone crazy. Damn brat, he's too despicable. He killed another one of their prodigies. Lin Xian ignored the roars of the White Crane clan. He looked at the dark red dragon. Ruffian dragon, you should think of a way to get one too. I reckon that the White Crane clan should have many more invitation letters. I'm also planning to do that. The dark red dragon's eyes moved. Suddenly he attacked. You're courting death. The middle-aged half-saint who attacked Lin Xian previously could no longer hold back and attacked like a madman. The battle between the two half-saints was earth-shattering. In an instant, the surrounding people retreated again. Yan Nantian stood in the void with his hands behind his back. He frowned slightly when he saw this scene. This dragon and Lin Xian were too arrogant. However, he had not made a move yet. Because it was inconvenient for him to make a move now. His target was the abyss below. The dark red dragon and the half-saint fought fiercely. In the end, the half-saint of the White Crane clan screamed and his body exploded. The dark red dragon's claws directly reached into the half-saint's body and grabbed an invitation letter. Then it roared. I have one too. Damn it. Damn it. The half-saint of the White Crane clan roared angrily. However, they did not dare to make a move rashly. They realized that the dragon's death was too terrifying. They were not confident unless they attacked together. However, they also had to prepare to enter the abyss. If they attacked now, they would be very passive in the abyss. Damn it, let's not care about those two. Our main mission is to enter the abyss. This time we must get a good ranking in the abyss. The half-saint of the White Crane clan gritted his teeth. The Qi family's patriarch and the others looked at each other and smiled bitterly. They did not prepare any invitation letters. Moreover, they did not know about it at all. Could it be that there was no hope of entering this time? The invitation letters were obtained by killing the Yin ghosts that fell into the abyss. If you want, you can kill some Yin ghosts. You might have a chance to get one. At this moment, someone sent a voice transmission to Jin Yuanzi. It was one of Jin Yuanzi's friends. Hearing this, Jin Yuanzi's eyes lit up. He quickly told the Qi family's patriarch and the others. At the same time, he also sent a voice transmission to Lin Xian. They were ready to give it a try. Lin Xian was even more curious. What was in the abyss? Why did it attract so many half-saints? Even Yan Nantian was attracted to it. Also, what was the use of the invitation letter? However, he soon understood. The ground below cracked again, and the entrance to the abyss appeared as if it was going to swallow them. Boom, boom, boom. On the other side of the big crack, a grayish-white stone tablet slowly stretched out. The stone tablet was very tall, and it was densely covered with names. If one took a closer look, they would find that the names were of different colors. The names at the top were purple. They exuded an extremely noble aura. Imperial Mausoleum. Long Tianzhao, Yanryu, Zhao Wuliang, Northern Yao. Those were the names of the people at the front. Their names were all purple. Lin Xian saw two familiar faces. Yanryu and Northern Yao. It seemed that the two of them had entered and obtained good results. Lin Xian was shocked. The other half-saints in the surroundings exclaimed in surprise. Heavens, these are indeed the top geniuses and experts. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.